Down, down, out. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the best of the Elks Call Season 2. I'm your host, Scout, aka the rep from Section X. This is Luna, Game Day Luna here, and we can't thank you enough for tuning into our show. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and favorite buttons. Your support means everything to us here at the Elks Herd and Shotgun Sports Network. Today, we are going to give you the best of CFL fans on the Elks Call. This best of episode is brought to you by Royal Retros. Save 10% off on CFLPA merchandise, CFL throwback jerseys, and much more with code Shotgun Sports, all caps, no spaces. Once again, that's royalretros.com. They are the throwback kings. All right, so in 2024, we were able to bring some of our favorite people on the show, CFL family, friends that cheer for our beloved football league here in Canada. From tailgaters to travelers, our friends always found a way to join us for some fun. This best of series gives you snapshots of different parts of the year, starting with Chris Agar talking some Double E, followed by Adam Goss, talking Argos. Following that, we had Chris Timofeychuk on to talk about his Guinness World Record attempt, raising money for CFL fans fight cancer in the process at the same time. Then Brian Howe of Kitchener joined us from literally the other room, like right around the corner. And then we capped this show with Strathcona Sam's interview, talking tailgate, chili cook-off, and more. Without further ado, here are the best conversations of the year from the Elks Call. Now, appreciate you too, Chris, for being here.
Hey, I appreciate you for having me.
Hey, dude, we have the best segment coming up. Your opinion is going to be extremely needed in this one because we are opening up the fan forum. Today's fan forum is brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal Podcast. Prepare for takeoff as Mike and Joe give you the latest on the Jets and the Blue Bombers. Wheels up. You can find that exclusively on Shotgun Sports Network. We are opening up the fan forum. In this segment, we talk about hot topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL as a whole. Herd chat, you know what to do. Blow up the herd chat so we can get your comments on to the show. We are already going to have to scroll back to catch a bunch of those comments. But we'll try to get to as many as we possibly can. Catherine, you want to take it away with question number one?
Sure. Oh, sorry. Had to hold that one.
You're good. You're good.
The Edmonton Elks have recently made the decision to move the tailgate party over to Lot B. We kind of, hinted towards these at the beginning of our show. But now we have a fan park and parking. We'll have the fan park in Lot B together with the tailgate, and then parking moved to Lot A where the tailgate used to be. So while the move brings a better environment, some fans are disgruntled, of course, about the rising costs and possibly losing a favored spot that they have been for very many years. So do you think, well, you already said that you thought it was a good thing that the tailgating is moving to Lot B, but can you elaborate on that? Can you tell me a little bit more as to why you think it's a good thing?
Well, my biggest thing is the team's always looking to build exposure. And the best way to do that is tailgating. There are people that don't even go into the stadium after they're done tailgating. They just continue to crack a brew, eat a burger, and chat in the parking lot or in the tailgate spots, right? So it's a huge thing. Anybody can come do it. It doesn't cost you any money to visit. The more exposure, the better. I'm all for it. One thing I'm really impressed with, I don't know if anybody, I brought props. So you can see that. This is what we were given at the meeting. And there we go. I'm backwards. But compare that to the old lot.
Yes.
Absolutely no comparison. It's more of an in the round type of thing rather than a hallway of 2 rows of parking stalls, right?
So, but now my question is, especially on the topic of exposure, right before, when we were in Lot A, people were still having a hard time finding the tailgate, or they didn't even know that it was there.
Mhm.
Right? They would just go straight from the LRT or wherever they parked into the stadium, and they were not really aware that there was something going on in the parking lot.
Mhm.
To Lot B, it seems like that's gonna be a little bit more hidden now. What do you think, what can be done to increase that even more exposure, in the sense that people can see that they can come in and be part of this experience and not think that it's a private party that you have to maybe pay to get into or something like that?
Well, I'd like to see some signage. I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
There's a lot of foot traffic coming off the LRT, coming off the buses. Maybe there's some signage saying head to the southwest corner of the stadium
Yeah.
before you head inside. It would really help the exposure.
No, I agree with that, and like there's going to be a lot to dig into here. Like John has a good question about this in the herd chat, but something that has been talked about, I think he actually did mention it if we scroll up, having to do with the LRT. But you're right. They had the fan fest over on that side. They're probably going to continue that, right? But there is an issue with getting over to the tailgate from the LRT. From the LRT, it's directly opposite if it's in Lot A, but if it's in Lot B, you can take a shortcut and make it over to the LRT or from the LRT to the tailgate rather quickly.
Right.
Mhm.
I like that. I like that it is going to be closer. I also like the in the round. We just, once again, something else that we mentioned on EST yesterday. I mentioned on EST, the in the round. It's now like a festival in there. It's
Mhm.
now like a carnival, I think was the term that they used.
Mhm.
Instead of having this long sprawled spread out two hallways or two giant rows of parking is how I described it, with an extra, half one there on the side. And I had actually mentioned you. So when I was talking about you coming on the show, I described you as being in the boonies compared to where we were. And really,
A little
right?
bit.
Even though you were only what, two rows and like five stalls over or something like that, it still felt like you were in the boonies because in
Yeah.
tailgating, it's not like you look over and you're like, "Hey, Joe, how's it going? Hey, Glenn, how's it going?" No, it's
Yeah.
you're in your stall, and especially if you're serving people, you're kind of locked in. So for us, we don't get to see everybody. We don't get
Mhm.
to walk around and visit, and we can. It's not like anybody is holding a gun to our head and we're stuck in our spot. But no, we prefer to hand out as much smoked meats as possible. And then if
Mhm.
there's an alumni signing, we'll try to get in early.
Mhm.
Which 3 hours? The 3 hours before is absolutely massive. The fact that they changed it to the 3 hours before before the game as opposed to 2 hours before the game, with the alumni signings, there's going to be a lot of people leaving that tailgate early.
I think so.
Probably, I mean, yes, 100%. I mean, I already said it ourselves. We said it ourselves that when that is happening, we are definitely closing down early,
Well,
and we're
what
just
what
going right
happens when
now.
Warren Moon comes? If
Yeah,
if
that
if
too.
Warren Moon comes, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I sure hope he does. We'll
and
see what
we'll be there.
happens.
We'll be there. Herdies, shut down.
I'm just out
Doesn't
here.
matter.
I'm out here like expecting Warren Moon to show up because it's the 75th. I pray, man. I would see this season. Like, what alumni do you think would show up this season?
Oh, I'd like to think they try and get whoever is close enough / able to from every era of the
Yeah,
team.
Right, that'd be cool.
That would be great. I mean,
If Michael Riley shows up, Scout's gonna cry.
yeah, yeah. Like that's another one. I really hope they get a hold of Michael Riley for sure.
Yeah,
I hear that he's actually really hard to get a hold of.
yeah.
I did actually hear that.
Tom Brady would get a hold of him.
No, not Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
Is it? Oh, I thought it
Yeah.
was Tom Brady that they were
No,
BFFs.
I showed you Game of Thrones.
Ah,
I showed you Game
don't
of Thrones.
matter.
Um, but for alumni, yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping for like Mike Riley. I'm hoping for Warren Moon. I'm hoping for like Tom Wilkinson. I'm sure that he'll make an appearance at Commonwealth Stadium.
Mhm.
Because he shows up. Jody brings him
Yeah.
down, and it was great. We got to meet him, so thankful we got to meet him already. So if he does do an alumni signing, I guess we're not overly hard pressed on that one. But like, let's say, like, if Warren Moon shows up, I'd like to see the attendance for that game.
Oh.
Like, what do you think? Do you think the Upper Bowl would open for that one, Chris?
Well, I'm hoping. I'm desperate to see that Upper Bowl open again. For the record, I'm for the Upper Bowl being closed. I know it's an inconvenience for a lot of people. I know it's very disappointing for people who have sat in their seats for decades.
Yeah.
But football isn't a good football atmosphere if you can stretch out your arms and legs like a starfish across the seats and not kick someone in the head.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's been sad. So I love what Lawlisher is doing with that the lower deck.
I think it's a smart business decision, 100%.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I've mentioned it before. I feel like for a lot of fans, it's just going to be a challenge now
Yeah.
of let's see how many times we can open up that upper bowl, upper bowl.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We may see a bigger attendance just for the sake of stubborn E fans that want that back. You know, so
Well, and
Yeah.
what would be really cool too is like, what would be really cool as well is if they opened up a couple of sections in the Upper Bowl and fans ran with it.
Yeah.
Like they want to get back in that Upper Bowl. So like you said, just run with it and just out of angst, let's open this sucker
angst
up.
and anger. And well, and that kind of ties in with the tailgate experience too, right? Because I feel like now that they're trying to reach a much younger demographic, because they're realizing that now that gap is starting to show of the older generation that used to go to the games that are now slowly not going to the games.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have the same engagement from the younger generation, right? So they have to be able to bring something into the plate that will attract a lot of these youngins to want to go to a football game. And what better idea than a tailgate party,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
You have a whole bunch of 20-year-olds that want nothing but a good time, increase that, make them, let them know that this is happening. Let them know that this is available, that they can come in and have a good time. And there's going to be a fan park, and there's going to be performances, and there's going to
Yep.
be vendors, and it's going to be a carnival, like you called it. And you're going to start seeing a lot more of these young people coming in and wanting to go see the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my number 2 nephew is now a season ticket holder. He's 13 years old.
Nice.
Once I explained to him what the tailgate party was and the game and everything going on before and afterwards, he was all for it.
Yes.
Welcome.
All for it. So I think the youth movement's going to grow.
Yes.
It's going to grow. I mean, it's among the best bang for your buck as far as entertainment in Edmonton.
Very much. Oh yes. Going to an Oilers game,
Ugh.
it's fun, but you go there for that period of time, you watch the game, and then you leave.
Yeah.
Right? The entertainment that you get is the game itself, not everything else going around you, going on.
Mhm.
Right? Edmonton Elks game, when you have things like this, and you can make a full day event out of
Yeah.
it,
Yes.
for the entire family. Like, what is not to like for like a quarter of the price, really?
Mhm.
You know?
By the way, for alumni that fans want to see, John here, Eskimo alumni Nanook. He'd like to see Nanook make a return for the
I'd be
seventh.
in favor of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any issues bringing Nanook back.
No.
I think they mostly got rid of Nanook because Spike came in, right?
Yeah.
I would say.
It was part of the name change thing to distance himself from the
No,
controversy that I don't want to get into.
no, exactly. Yeah, moving right along. But no, what I would ask is let's go up in the herd chat here all the way back to the beginning because I think there was actually a tailgate. Did they announce Elks announce anything? Nice. Okay, here it is. Here's one of them. Question here: did they announce anything? Are the Elks going to do anything to stop people from using the tailgate spots as a personal parking spot?
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, yes, there's a couple of things. So, believe it or not, I had actually asked the exact same question at the tailgate meeting. So great question, John. I think it's a fantastic one. Um, we grilled them because we're sick of Lot 43 parking. I'll call you out Lot 43. You guys just parked. I don't care.
And it was once. They just parked once.
They tailgated
did
once,
not. They
yeah.
tailgated once. They parked a couple of times, and a whole bunch of times they did not even show up.
Mhm.
Like, so what they're gonna do is an hour before the game, they're gonna do a soft cutoff. So if you're just rolling in, you're probably rarely seen in the tailgate. Pass is getting your pass is getting passed around. If that's the scenario, they'll be able to figure it out. They're not going to let you in at around an hour.
Mhm.
Now, if you plead your case and you do indeed tailgate and they know that, well, they'll give you the pass and let you in at around, 45 to an hour. 45 minutes before the game, you will not be able to get into the tailgate parking spot.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for that too, because that was a bit of a problem last year. I had some friends, well, we have mutual friends. They had people that would come in 30 minutes before the game trying to weasel their way in around cornhole games and kids running around playing. It's like, no, no.
Like
Go to the garage, go to Stadium Auto. They charge for parking. Go there. Get out of the tailgate zone.
Yeah.
yes,
I'm
and
not even going to be nice about it. It's not a parking lot, it's a tailgate lot. Get with it or get out.
that's exactly. I think that was such a smart idea to move the parking to Lot A.
Hmm.
Not only is it more accessible for people
Yeah.
parking, it is a nice spot. You can get right out from the stadium, right into that parkade, super easy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to come into the area with a tailgate where the
Right.
tailgate is actually going on, right? So
Right. Yeah.
It's nice to drive behind Clark to get to your access too. I think the access is a lot better. Being able to just drive behind Clark. Now that 107th access, you're not trapped to the 111th access
Yeah.
now. The 107th, you're a little bit deeper into the city. I get it, but I've kind of always liked driving that way more. I don't know why. Call me weird.
Well, and it's safer too, because once again, there's families and kids running around. You don't want to be worried about cars coming in and, having to pack everything that you just put out so that a car can get through. Um,
Hmm.
just close it up. It really, yeah, no, I think all around good feelings about this.
John has a question here. What are they using in Clark Park for the season? Is that where they said they're going to do the Family Fest? No, that's
Yes, they're doing renovations right now, if I
yep,
remember correctly.
correct.
So it's going to be closed down for quite a few of those games. But then that's when they're going to be putting a whole bunch of like a picnic area. It's going to be more towards that side, and also I think like some sort of festival or something.
Yeah, I think
I'm
they
not
said
sure.
I think they said it was going to be like a family fest. I could be wrong.
I do remember them saying that there's going to be a lot of renovations for Clark Park and Clark Stadium this summer, so you might not be able to get into that quite easily, and that's why I think they moved a whole bunch of different things too,
Yeah.
like the daycare part of it. The drop your kids off while dad goes and watches football and so
Isn't that the Knothole gang? Um
used to be.
used to be. Scroll
I
on
think that's it.
up. Do we got all do you think all 200 do you think all 200 stalls are going to be filled with the new prices for the spots? So yes, so the
Yes.
new price is a very good question. The new stall pricing is going to be $400, and if you want a premium spot, it's $500. But the premium spots are only available if you have had season tickets, basically since Clark days.
Yeah.
Well,
They're going with a seniority.
priority. Yes.
Yeah, they've decided.
Seniority rule.
Yeah, they've ran seniority rule, just like Chris and yourself, Kathy, have said. It's good. I think that I would have preferred to see a lottery system, but that's just because I don't get the premium spot. Um,
That's when you make friends with, the ones that have been there since the days back
Sure,
back in the
but
day.
shout out Colin Bartman. But here's the thing with this. I had a good train of thought. They do have a lot more partner stalls
Yeah.
surrounding now, right on either side of the stage. So
Mm-hmm.
See how that goes. I can foresee K97 and Spirit of Edmonton potentially landing in there. Don't quote us on it. Don't know that. No clue, but I could see that. I did forget my train of thought on that. So it is what it is.
You had something to say though, Chris.
I was just mentioned the premium stalls. I love the fact that it's just a single row. For myself, I don't want one. I'd rather be in the heart of it all. If I can bring that map up again, I mean, if this is the stadium here, it is.
Mm.
The premium stalls are these green ones here,
Yeah.
way at the other end. So, I'm okay without a premium stall.
Well, and
I
that's
think
what I
this
was.
would be nice for like families that have a lot of kids that they can
Mhm.
just go in the back and just use that green space. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not like it's a massive parking lot that the kids still can't run over to the green space and play, right? So I do agree. I do agree on that.
No,
But
no,
they are bigger though. They're bigger stalls. So if you have a bigger truck or something
yeah.
like that,
Mhm.
those might be the only
I
stall.
didn't know there were bigger spots. I didn't know that.
A little bit more space. That's when when we went to that meeting, Scout parked exactly where he wanted to be. One of the things that we did notice with a couple of our friends from there, the Smiths, is that they were saying, "Yeah, my truck is not going to fit in any of these stalls over here."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
yeah,
if I remember correctly, they're going to be having a limit on what kind of vehicle you can have there as well.
yeah,
You can't pull your RV in there. It's not
No, no.
I think they were saying that they needed the truck because they have like 6 kids or something.
right.
Like they have so many kids that they have to roll around with, you know, a boat essentially. But
And here I am with a minivan, and I don't have kids.
hey, nothing wrong with minivans.
You can park in the tailgate, man. You're good.
They're super fuel.
That's why I have it now. I can fit the barbecue and the tent and everything in there, no problem.
You could even sleep in there without a problem.
Oh, that's never happened.
But yeah, let's talk about the second topic if you want to bring it up.
Second topic, Jamie, we did see your question in the herd chat. We are actually going to talk about that at the end of the fan forum. But the second topic, Elmondo Sewell, D-line. Really was hoping that he would join the team. It looks like his demand is actually up there, and he may have outpriced himself from the Edmonton Elks a little bit, which is he's a Grey Cup champion as of last year. So it's two time, I believe, 2 time. But Dave Campbell on Twitter said, in an effort to end any sort of speculation, the Elks are not one of the 3 teams in on Elmondo Sewell. Chris Jones is sticking with the youth movement on the D line for now, something that we've already mentioned, and something that Chris Jones has come out and once again stated. He will not be any more of a player in free agency. There may be one or two signings. It could be Elmondo Sewell, but biggest question here, Chris, is: are you, as a fan, happy with the team fielded? Do you think that this team is a playoff contender in 2024?
Is it a playoff contender in 2024? Yes, it is. I think we made better strides than Calgary has. I think we've made, and that's the one team we've really got to keep our eye on. Because let's face it, BC's up there, Winnipeg's up there, Saskatchewan's definitely up there, unless the stadium caves in on them. That team is top 2 in the division, no 2 ways about it.
Wow, that's a big stake.
I don't see how it couldn't be.
Yeah.
The Argonauts were 16-2 as well, and we thought they were going to win the Grey Cup. So,
well, and we come around every year saying, they look really good on paper. They look really good on paper.
Who picked Montreal to win the Grey Cup at the beginning of the year last year? I know I didn't.
Yeah,
very
I don't think halfway through the season nobody was betting on Montreal to win the Grey Cup. As we say, any given Sunday, especially in the CFL, any given Sunday. We got lots of those on the schedule this year.
Yeah.
Very thrilled about those Sunday games, but
yeah,
I don't see how this team, and I just don't see how they miss the playoffs. And if they do, like if this team starts on a nasty streak of 0-6 or 0-8, 0-4 even at 0-4, because we just played this game yesterday. The schedule goes Saskatchewan, Montreal, Toronto and BC, or BC and Toronto, something like that.
So it's a hard start of the season.
Horrible start to the season, except for that Saskatchewan game. So for the second year in a row, the Edmonton Elks have to win against Saskatchewan to kickstart their season. And if they don't, they risk another nasty losing streak. This team has to prove that it actually improved over the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that makes me really cautious is all the moves that were made. We're essentially another brand new team. How much time is it going to take for them to build enough chemistry and to understand exactly what is happening as a team? And is that going to affect those initial games? Now, at the same time, I think I mentioned this, a couple of times, a couple of weeks ago, or even before that, that I did feel that with a lot of the signings, we were making this an MBT team, right? Yeah, we were signing people around our quarterback, which is not necessarily a bad thing because then we know that they have chemistry already built and they can take that what they had before and apply it to the Edmonton Elks.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they now have to work under new management, with new teammates, under new coaches. How is that going to affect it? And it makes me very cautious, right? I don't know how that's going to affect the team right off the get.
I'm thinking like any team, be it a football team, being a work team, being any type of physical cooperation, so long as you go in with a hardworking and positive attitude, they can do it, right? They've got the leaders in place. We know that players will run through a wall for Jones. And for what I understand, MBT is the kind of leader that you want to run through a wall for as well. So
I wanted to when, I agree. I think the building stones are there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's changes in a team every year. I think regarding the quarterback room, a lot of fans were right upset it wasn't Trey Ford starting, and I get it. I want to see the excitement of Trey Ford. I want to see those mind-blowing runs. But you know what I want to see more? A strong passing game and wins.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Winning solves everything. What? And don't get me wrong, I got nothing against Trey Ford. I love watching the guy play. Never met the guy. I don't know him. But he's exciting as hell to watch. He's an amazing athlete to watch. But all the excitement in the world doesn't mean a damn thing if you start 0-4.
Yep. No, that's simple put.
Give me W's. As a fan, as a season seat holder, give me W's. I don't care who's starting. Give me W's.
Well, and just like we've talked about on a previous episode of the Elks Call, it's the 75th season. It's your best opportunity as a name that has a bad identity right now. The Edmonton Elks, it's a name that is synonymous with losing and losing streaks and all this. So
it's also Chris Jones' third year in this position.
Third year in a rebuild. And I think we've been rebuilding for 4. So it's like, we're at that point. Well, 3, really. 3, yeah, sure. Yeah. But no matter what, either way that you look at it, the 75th season is the biggest opportunity you have to tie together all of your branding. The Edmonton Elks to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Mm-hmm.
You have to tie that brand together. I get that Chris Jones just has his job to do and everything else, and I'm sure that he feels a ton of heat right now. I'm sure he is feeling the breath on his neck to get these wins. But the Edmonton Elks in that first 4 games, they need at least 1 win. And something to consider success would be 2 wins. 2 wins in that nasty 4-game start. So
they've got to be 500 going into Labor Day.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's right.
They say the real season starts on Labor Day, whatever. But they've got to be 500 to get in there. We got to be going into Calgary with confidence that we're going to beat those guys in McMahon. And then they've got to build that confidence in the first 2/3 of the year. It's not even negotiable. That confidence, that winning culture has to be built in the first 9 games.
Well, and that's where having a leader of men, having an MBT, somebody that's walking and saying, yeah, we're going to run this town. You need that kind of guy in that position to command that team.
Mhm.
I have a really, really good feeling about the offense this year. I have a bad feeling about the defense.
Right.
But in most scenarios, you can outscore your problems. In this scenario, right, where in football, you can also throw the ball away too and have them score on you with an interception. Now, MBT is not an interception machine.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is that we still have the draft coming up.
We have the CFL draft.
And the combine. And what do we have? First pick.
I can tell you something else we have. Jones.
Yeah.
I like Darius Bratton. Those guys have been turning up last year. So losing Ceresna was a definite kick, but hey, we got Gittins out of it. Ratio breaker, history with MPT. Sure, the D-line's questionable. But you know what? I'll be happy as anything if they prove me dead wrong that they're questionable.
And it's with that one, we heard that Sean Oakman was potentially coming our way, and we kind of were told that we were going to fill that spot. We have the opportunity to fill it in the Canadian CFL combine or draft, combine then draft. But the 2 O-line guys that are up at number 1 and number 2 in the scouting bureau, unfortunately, will more than likely be going directly to the NFL as opposed to. So that means we lose a year or 2 of potentially getting to play that player. It does work. Now, when those players come from the NFL, they still need development becoming a starter. So what we found is just like Matthew Betts, right? Matthew Betts, he played for Edmonton for, I believe, 2 years. Mediocre play, mediocre team, mediocre grading, whatever. And then he goes to BC and he becomes an all-star stud that is now he's going down to the NFL Detroit Lions. So
I don't think we'll see him back in the CFL, to be honest with you.
Probably not. He's an absolute stud. I knew what we got when we had him.
Yeah.
It was confusing why it wasn't working out the way that it was. It was more than likely just because the team was not competitive and wasn't able to support him either. And
coaching philosophy has a lot to do with it as well.
That's the other thing. Coaching philosophy has a lot to do with it. And whatever style was happening in BC and whatever they were coaching him, it was clicking. So, good question. Before we close the fan forum, wish we had a part 2. Before we close the fan forum, let's take a look at this question here in the herd chat by Jamie. He had asked, do you think it would be good to have more get-togethers with season ticket holders in the off-season? So what he's referring to here is the CFL Fans Fight Cancer event that just
my favorite event, baby.
It was great. That was our first inaugural. Chris, can you please tell us? You probably know a little bit more about the history on this. Can you tell us?
I'm relatively new to it. For those that are watching that don't know what the CFL Fans Fight Cancer is, it's an organization of CFL fans. Come one, come all. Everyone is welcome. We raise funds for a local cancer center in the Grey Cup host city.
Nice.
So last year we had it in Hamilton. I believe, if I'm wrong, please forgive me, but it was the Wellwood Cancer Center in Hamilton. So it's a big fundraiser we do. There's a silent auction the day before Grey Cup. We essentially take over a bar or hall, cram in 350 crazy CFL fans, drink our faces off, eat our faces off, buy a whole bunch of stuff, and raise some money.
Nice. So that's the big Grey Cup event, and like you said, you're raising money for that Grey Cup city. They're one of their cancer centers now, or the organization. Now, Edmonton, we had the opportunity to start our first inaugural CFL Fans Fight Cancer event. It was successful. Turf District, you and Turf District were basically hosting it. We obviously jumped on board with a little bit of promo and marketing duties, and then we also got to supply a prize package, which uh, it actually featured tickets for an LPW and LPW Love Pro Wrestling and Clandestine Wrestling Society. They had a crossover event tonight on a Thursday night down at Rec Room, I believe. There's some tickets in there, a loud cup. We want to get that building loud, so it was really cool that we got to supply a package. The Elks supplied a package. Our good friend Janelle with that cake. That cake looked
What a beautiful cake, wasn't it?
oh, just
Oh,
delicious.
man.
It looked delicious. I wish I could have some in it, some of it.
I'm pretty sure it's gone. It went to Sylvan Lake and it was gone after the first night.
I'm sure.
And then she still also brought her boozy cupcakes as well, which were delicious. They were.
Yes,
They always are. They always are.
It was like cinnamon toast crunch or something
Oh
like
my
that.
goodness.
I bought a 12-pack to myself that night as well. So
Nice, right on.
well worth every penny. There's none left.
Good.
Every time.
No, it was a fantastic event. I want to say it was around 2.5, 3 hours. Silent auction. What was it? Around $200 for a signed Warren Moon picture, which
300.
300. Thank you. I thought I heard 190, and I'm like, that's low. That's way too low.
Yeah, I think it was. I know Mick Ozzy and Kimberly were. I think it was Kimberly. Were betting back and forth, and she won it. I believe the winning bid was $300.
Yes,
Love
Kim,
it.
friend of the herd. Yes,
So good.
she ended up winning that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for correcting me on the price, but $300. That's a good chunk of money for cancer research, and it's a really good deal on a signed Warren Moon memorabilia piece. Like it has the pin in it and everything. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So so fantastic. Raised around $1,000, I think, at that event.
At that event, yeah, nationwide, we raised, I believe it's just over $7,000. So that puts them over 15% towards the goal of 40 grand.
That's awesome.
Boom. So
if anybody wants to know where to donate, what I'm going to do when we're done here tonight, I'm going to pin all that information to the top of my Twitter feed, X feed, and then everybody feed off that at Bear Paw Chris.
Awesome.
At Bear Paw Chris. Awesome. Can't wait. It will be pinned over on the top of that profile. I wish
Such a good initiative. I'm so glad that Edmonton got on board with that because I became really aware of that event in Toronto.
Yeah.
With Ginger Argo because he's a big
and he did
of it.
He did a huge tailgating thing for it, right? So it was grab some smoked chicken, throw in a $5, $10, or $20, whatever, and donate. And I would love it if we could get the QR code. Chris, can you please send it to me after? So
I will do that. I'll pin it at the top of my profile with the website, etc., etc.
Yeah, that'd be awesome because then that way we can open it up. Let's say under even affiliates, we can just be like, hey, donate CFL Fans Fight Cancer. That's great. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Marcia McNaughton out in Vancouver, I believe, is the one that arranged the QR code to make it easy for everybody coast to coast.
Nice.
I was contacted by Adam, Toronto Argonauts superfan Adam Goss, and he wanted to do this CFL Family Summit and put some funds towards CFL Fans Fight Cancer. So the credit really goes to Adam for starting this thing. So we had 7 communities across the country that jumped in on this. So not too bad at all. Averaging $1,000 donation per gathering.
Yeah, exactly, per gathering. And
see, that just brings back to the question that Jamie asked. We should have a lot more of these events for season ticket holders, off season, to get together, drink our faces off, eat our faces off, and donate for a good cause.
Totally.
Yeah, I think another preseason one would be a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, and another preseason one that would be good. And then even outside of a CFL, CFL FC, FFC, FFC, outside of one of those events, we did the tailgate thing as well, right? We all went to that middle of
Just a
winter
little.
tailgate.
Yeah.
So it's always great seeing the CFL family outside of game days and outside of the usual strictly sports gathering.
And everybody misses football during the off season, right? So that just gives us an opportunity to kind of get a little bit closer to it.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, and even John here, did the Elks announce Fan Day yet? No, they haven't.
No.
Actually, is it on that calendar? No, I don't think it's on
No,
that
no, they
calendar.
haven't
No.
announced it yet. I don't think.
Um,
Not sure.
at the meeting, Adam Dom was talking about it. I believe it's happening in May.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
nice,
still early.
nice. See,
They'll
look at
announce it.
Maybe wrong. Don't quote me on it. That's not gospel, but I'm pretty sure that's when it's happening.
nice. There
They'll
you go.
announce it closer to the day. I mean, it would be pretty bad if they didn't. Let's just put it that way. Like, it would be a
Well,
bad look if they didn't put it on this year. So
Fan Day is really, really important. It gives everybody a chance to join. I mean, even though the tickets are affordable, there's a lot of people that can't afford to go to games.
Mhm.
Fan Day is an affordable opportunity to get the young lads and girls in the stadium, get to experience what's going on, meet some of the players. So I'm really hoping they do it.
Oh, it's one of the biggest events for the grassroots movement. It's
Yes.
something that
Yes.
it's something that truly brings the community to the organization, connects those bridges, and actually fosters those relationships that
Mhm.
end up lasting years.
Mhm.
The kids, we've talked about it multiple times, but
Mm-hmm.
kids
Love it.
kids eat
They
it
have
up and they
so
become
much fun.
fans for life. Yeah.
They have so much fun.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it takes me back to the old Carnival of Champions days. I don't know if you guys were here for that, but
I know of it.
God, I miss that. What a great sense of community. But I don't know if it'll ever happen again. I hope it does.
I hope so too, man. It would be nice to see a Grey Cup. Imagine if we became the City of Champions once again and hold a Carnival of Champions once again.
Oh my goodness. I would love that.
Oh,
Like a double header with the Edmonton Oilers and the Edmonton Eskimos, or Elks, sorry.
whoa, look
But
at you.
from me back, that would be a summer or winter or year that people would not remember because they would be partying way too hard.
I've lived in or very close to Edmonton all my life, and the one thing I miss the most being a fan, I miss being hated. I'm tired of this sympathy garbage. I want the evil empire. I want the double E to mean evil empire again.
So, in this segment, we're going to talk to Adam Goss about his life in and out of the PA booth, his experience as a fan and as an employee of the Toronto Argonauts. Once again, get your comments and questions into the herd chat so we can get them onto the show.
Yeah, we already have some on the show here with
Ginger Argo. Shout out Ginger Argo in the herd chat already. Kind of inspiration a little bit for our show title today, which is Sogra Stories. Adam, we love to learn about how our guests got to this point in life. What led you to the PA booth for the Toronto Argonauts? Like, were you always a fan? Like, how did that all come to fruition?
Well, yeah. Actually, my road is a little unconventional because it started purely because I was a fan. In 2002, I responded to an advertisement in the newspaper looking for game day volunteers. I had some free time that season. I thought, you know what, this is a great way to get involved with this football team. I had been an Argonaut fan since 1991. I thought, this is let me get more connected with my football team. So, we had to talk about positions that we would prefer, whether we were on the field or behind the scenes or what have you. When they saw my resume, they noticed that I had a football pedigree. I grew up playing football, so I have a pretty intimate understanding of the game. A lot of us are just fans. A lot of people who have grew up watching football have not played the game, and that's obviously perfectly okay. But they took that pedigree and said, well, we need somebody with a football background to be the spotter. So I was immediately thrust into the role of spotter for the announcer at that time. His name was John Gonzo Mark of local radio fame here in Toronto. He was the first announcer that I worked with. He left and was replaced by Mark Chambers. Mark Chambers is arguably
Nice. Okay.
Where's the rain that you asked for?
I was just wondering whether it was on our side. I'm like, what is happening in my house?
Check your windows.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so Mark Chambers was one of the penultimate voiceover professional in this city. He was a sports broadcaster. He was a radio DJ. He worked at 1050 Chum Monday to Friday. He taught a broadcasting course at Humber College. He was the Argos PA announcer in the 1990s. This man was an absolute legend. So it was a real treat to work with Mark. Mark eventually fell ill of cancer in 2007. Mark was really generous about sharing his world, both personally and professionally. He wanted everybody to play in his sandbox. He was just such a lovable, warm guy. And he would always get me integrated on the mic, even though it was his job. He was the announcer. He was never shy of grabbing the microphone and saying, "Here, you get this one, give it a try." And I loved it. It was a little bit, scary at first, but I felt real comfortable. Fast forward to 2000, the winter of 2008. Well, actually, let me backtrack, because it is important to note that Mark's last football game ever was the 2007 Grey Cup in Toronto. So what a way to hang him up. He passed winter of 2008. The team approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to take the big seat?" I said, "Absolutely, it'd be a pleasure." So I only did the one full season in 2008 before my day job had to move me out to British Columbia. So I was in BC for 5 years. Came back in 2014, just became a fan, bought seasons tickets, banged the drum, painted the face, waved the flags. Before long, there was an opportunity again. The great Don Landry decided he had enough. He stepped aside, and the call came again. "Hey, we're looking for an announcer. Are you interested?" And away we go. So that was 2019. So this is my second tour of duty.
That's so cool. That is really
cool.
sweet. And we see you in the pictures. We see you out there with the fans as well. And it's really cool that the organization has embraced fans, right?
It looks like a fun job. Not gonna.
Yeah, it looks like you have
like
fun,
a really
man.
fun time.
Look, don't tell the Argonauts, but I'd probably do it for free. I get to be one of the team's biggest cheerleaders. It's super cool. But I am a big believer in having passion at what you do. A lot of us do something because it's a means. We have to put food on the table, or we have to fill time. The Argos are really good about having people on board that love this football team. Some of the longest tenured employees of the Argos are also fans. Our equipment manager, Danny Webb, community ambassador, Jason Calero, one of our sales managers, Rob Richardson. These are people that you would see at an Argo game if they weren't working. They love the team and they love what they do. So and the team and MLSC allows me to have some liberties on the microphone. It's our home stadium. Why not have home field advantage? So I'm really grateful for that.
Totally.
You definitely do well at that, Adam. You definitely put on put it on there at BMO. We've gotten to see you do your job in person, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And that was at BMO.
Can I this might be stretching it, but can I assume that you're going to be there this weekend?
We wish.
We wish.
Sad panda.
It's summer. There's other things happening here in the city that are keeping us in the city. And unfortunately, we do make a point of going back to Toronto every couple of years. So there is a point to go there next year.
Probably
sure.
next summer, yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mike Hogan, and my apologies. Mike Hogan is, of course, our play-by-play, radio play-by-play announcer, one of the biggest Argo fans you'll ever meet. So yeah, it's great to be surrounded by people who love the double blue. But I'm heartbroken that you won't be here in Toronto. I really hope to see you. Maybe I can sneak in a visit to the City of Champions later this season. We'll see.
Later this season.
Yeah.
That's what is it? I want to say the 25th.
October.
Is it October?
October 25th.
Yeah, there
yes,
you go.
October 25th.
See,
So
plenty
Good
of time to plan.
Good try. Good try.
So let's bring it back to your comment about the home field. BMO Field has a certain charm to it, of course. But as we know, the Argos have played in many stadiums over the years, including the Sky Dome and the Exhibition Stadium. So which one was your favorite and why?
That's a great question. The Sky Dome holds a lot of memories because, we won some championships there. 91, 96, 97, 2004, 2012. So for a lot of reasons that the Dome will still, always hold a piece of my heart. We never quite felt at home there. It was weird. I mean, it's a big venue. The lower bowl seating area is very, very shallow. So you're kind of removed from the action a bit. But I really enjoyed it. It was a climate control building. You never had to worry about the elements. Personally, I like the elements. So I think facility if I'm just racking up or stacking the facilities side by side, I'd have to pick BMO Field. It's an intimate environment. It's outdoors where the game was meant to be played. The acoustics are wonderful. You're right by the lake. The city skyline is in full view. I'd have to think we have the best setup at BMO. Exhibition was great, but that was, there was a baseball team there. Some of the sight lines were weird. It wasn't the coziest building to play in. But yeah, it had its own charm. It was also home to a very dubious era of Argo football where the team went winless for quite some time. So there's that.
We don't want to think about
happens to the best of us, doesn't
and
it?
I do remember that being a BMO and thinking how loud it got, right? Like you say, it's just the acoustics and just everybody just, stomping around and cheering and just everything, just you hear everything. And it was pretty cool.
Well, I'm going to give Argo fans a lot of credit for that. Whether it's 12,000, 16,000, 20,000, Argo fans are passionate. They're very proud of this football team. They bring a lot of energy, a lot of noise. They're very smart and responsive. They know when to make noise and when not to. And they're loud. They make that place uncomfortable for a lot of visiting teams, which is just the way we want it.
So with how loud it can get, what was your favorite game to call? What has been your favorite game to call so far?
That would have to be the 2022 Eastern Final versus Montreal. Having a chance to go to the Grey Cup game is something you dream of. Mm-hmm. It was amazing to do that. But I will say, being a part of a record-setting season last year was really special. Even though we didn't achieve the ultimate goal, going undefeated at home, racking up 16 wins, there was just a real special buzz around this team last season, every home game. I hesitate to use the words guaranteed win, but the team had so much confidence that every time you walked into the stadium, you just felt like this team was unstoppable. The crowd brought a lot of energy. There was a lot of celebration. It was our 150th anniversary. Timing. What a year to have your 150th anniversary on a year where you go 16-2, or vice versa. What a year to go 16-2 on your 150th anniversary. So it was a real special season. So it wasn't one particular game, but I'm just really grateful to have been a part of that.
Oh, totally. That was a cool one. That was definitely a cool one to go, and just how proud everybody was of the team.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see. But
Well,
we also
sorry, even that 150th, just
Yeah.
saying, didn't mean to cut you off, but that 150th, even just going for that game, there's a certain air in the building,
Mhm.
special season, right? So it was a very
Totally.
special one last year.
Totally. And we also had the chance to meet you at the tailgate last year. What did you think of that experience that they're building down there? Have you been to more tailgates?
Yes, in fact, I try to make it a point of checking out the tailgate prior to every game. I've got a lot of friends, of course, who are out that way, so I really wanted to see them and say hi and enjoy the game. I also want to say a thank you to some of the fans I haven't met that are using the tailgate as a vehicle to enjoy Argos football. Tailgating is, and I think always will be, a part of the game day experience at a football game for many, not for all, but for many. And it's just so amazing to see what Argo fans have done there. As we know, there are some challenges with hosting a tailgate in Ontario, in Toronto, but our fans have done it respectfully and responsibly. My hats off to them for wanting to build this thing organically, properly, and telling the people of Toronto and the GTA that yes, you can tailgate at BMO, if you play by the rules. You can have a lot of fun and celebrate the game we all love. Both Argo fans and visiting fans. I should give a shout out to, there's a lot of loyal Ticat fans that I know that make the trip, whether they're playing here or not. And Rider fans are always there. It doesn't matter who shows up. So,
Never bet against Riders fans being in the crowd at any game, and sometimes even hockey games.
That's a rash you'll just never get. You'll never wash off. It's just. But yeah, so the tailgate experience is awesome. I love getting out there to see everybody, and I hope that it continues to grow.
No, it's from what we saw, right? It was cool to see Ginger Argo roll up with a full-on smoker, had flags. It was a really cool setup.
Yeah.
I do think we might hold the edge in size, but that being said, you guys have a lot more parking lot to work with.
That's what I was gonna say. You guys have 3 different parking lots that people can park at, so it just kind of spreads it out a little bit and makes it.
Yeah, there is a fair bit of land. I love that the passion that Elks fans have for their look. You guys throw one heck of a tailgate. It really is something that fans across the league talk about. I love going to Edmonton. It's one of the best road cities because of you guys. You're just such wonderful hosts. If there's one complaint I have, is that can we start it earlier?
Right.
Well, they did. They did this year.
Now it's 3 hours.
Now it's 3 hours before.
It's good. Nice.
I mean, we're not gonna do what some people that we know over there do and show up at 3 a.m. to start smoking, but we will get there. 3 hours we're committed, but not that committed. Not there yet.
By the way, we love Ginger, and you can't have him, so don't ask.
Oh,
here he is in the herd chat. 8 hours.
Always 8 hours before.
Oh, so good.
Oh my goodness.
But getting, I guess, moving forward to the future here, the Elks and Argonauts are playing at BMO this Saturday, and there will be some expected fanfare, probably a Riders fan or two. But do the Argonauts have any alumni coming for this weekend, or is there any other events that you can mention besides just the tailgate?
Yes, absolutely. The shipyard is there's a social space directly north of the stadium. It's kind of within the stadium grounds, but not past the ticketed area. So you can go to the shipyard. I believe I got that right. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it is a ticketed area, but the shipyard is a place where you can gather without, for those who don't have a car or don't feel like joining the tailgate. The shipyard offers something similar food vendors, merchandise, live music. I believe our dance team frequents there, and that's usually a space they often feature alumni appearances to sign and pose for photos, things like that. I don't know who's going to be there on Saturday, but you can probably count on 1 or 2 players hanging out there. So that's a really nice alternative for Argo fans. Speaking of alumni, it's going to be a fun night on Saturday because one thing we haven't talked about, of course, there's a good handful of former Argos who are coming into town that we're looking forward to seeing. McLeod Bethel Thompson, Curly Gittins Jr., Boris Beatty. Obviously Chris Jones from years gone by.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to seeing some faces, and I imagine there's going to be maybe a couple tributes or a blanket tribute. Haven't seen what's in the story yet, but I'm sure we'll give them some flowers.
Yeah. Well, and this is MBT's first game in Toronto since he won the championship.
And I mean, with all those pickups, we were calling ourselves the Edmonton Argonauts.
You said it, yeah. You said it, yeah.
I mean, that is definitely one to see how the boys perform now. They're back in.
Well, yeah, it will. But
hey, you guys got Jake Sarazna.
We're pretty thrilled. Jake is an absolute treat to watch. You guys were spoiled for those few years you had him, and I had a brief chat with him after game 1, our opening day, and he seems real excited to be in Toronto. So that makes me feel good.
No, totally. Like Chris Agar said in the herd chat, we've got our hands full this weekend with Jake in Double Blue. So, yeah, just a little bit disappointed that we lost him. He's definitely a good friend of the herd as well. So, Jake Sarazna, quality guy, fantastic player. He lays the sacks. So, we miss him.
It'll be a good one. It'll be a good one to watch.
That man is just a vending machine with arms and legs.
He's a wall.
He runs you over, yes.
He's a wall. Whenever we see some of the newer guys coming in, you're like, no, you can't. You can't
replace. You can't replace Jake Sarazna.
So, no. You guys got lucky with that one. But hey, we got lucky as well with some of the pickups that we got. So
correct.
It'll be a really good game. But Adam, obviously, the off season had a certain noise to it. But what do you think Cameron Dukes at quarterback so far?
I think if I'm being honest, I think Cameron has probably caught a lot of people by surprise, maybe even myself to a degree. I always believed in Cameron Dukes, but I think we'd all be fooling ourselves if we thought he would come flying out of the gate. As a second-year pro and a first-time starter, the learning curve is steep and success is usually not immediate. So I think we need to be cautious. And I think Cameron would probably tell you the same thing. Cameron is a student of football, always wanting to learn and grow. And I think he's got a fantastic approach to this season. He is grateful for the opportunity. He's humble and hungry. He knows that, he's got a lot to learn, but he's so excited to lead this team. Week 1, if week 1 has proved anything, if that's the way the season's going to be, we're going to be in fantastic shape. But the majority of us here in Double Blue Land are pretty. We have a level head too. We understand that it's an 18-game season, and one player does not a football team make. So we've got an all-world defensive line. We've got strong special teams, and there's a lot of playmakers top to bottom on this team. So he has a lot of support. He has a lot of confidence given to him by the coaching staff because, he's not alone in this, so the coaches are really giving him a lot of rope, which instills confidence and allows him to be comfortable in the pocket. So it's going to be fun to see him develop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, he did get an elite year out of Chad Kelly. Mm-hmm. So it's, you have that kind of scenario, that eliteness rubs off on the backup, right? For whatever reason, starter can't play, backup comes in, runs the program, does perfectly fine. And, this is once again why MBT and Trey Ford are coupled up this year.
Mhm.
Trey Ford is that kind of development behind
Definitely.
somebody like MBT, right? So, and I mean, Chad Kelly, he's, I don't know if, I would say as of last year, you are probably putting the title of elite on his head.
Mhm.
So it's
Without question. Yes, without question.
totally, man. He's a good ball slanger.
I mean, if there was somebody to learn from,
Yeah,
he certainly, I'm pretty sure he taught Cameron a whole bunch of things
easily.
and what he needed to prepare him, you know,
for
so that he
for a
could
moment like
take,
this,
so that,
yes.
you know,
Well,
nobody saw it, but when it happened, and thankfully Cameron was prepared for it.
Well, Chad Kelly is, one of the rare examples that I mentioned. How many quarterbacks in their first year as a starter have that level of success? More accurately, how many first year starting quarterbacks are most outstanding players? So he had an unbelievable season, and for Cameron and Brian Scott to be able to experience that from an arm's length is just invaluable. It also, shout out to our offensive line. It doesn't hurt to play in what's arguably the best offensive line in the CFL. So that's gonna make any quarterback feel a little bit more comfortable about slinging the ball. And Cameron Dukes can also move. Kelly was sneaky deceptive too. He was quick. I think Cameron Dukes is more mobile. He can take off and run when he sees fit, and that makes him a lethal weapon too.
We see it with Trey. Like,
Yep.
I feel like Trey Ford is in the position that Cameron was last year,
Pretty much.
right? So it's going to be interesting seeing Cameron's development and how he does this season for sure.
And I like what Chris here in the herd chat. Chris said here in the herd chat. Imagine if Dukes becomes so good here in the starter position when a pivot has chemistry with the receivers. Do you want to break that chemistry for the second half of the season? Chris said he doesn't know. So, a little bit of quarterback controversy midway through the season. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad. You never really want there to be a lack of competition at that spot, right?
Right.
There's a little bit of healthy competition. Also, it would now take a little bit for Chad Kelly to get back into that starter position, especially because Dukes doesn't deserve to have it taken away from him. So there potentially will be a little bit of quarterback controversy, and the Argos will benefit from it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Look, good, strong quarterback play in this league benefits all of us. There's only 9 starting positions. They all need homes. The more high caliber quarterbacks we have in this league, the better for all of us, because we're going to get some entertaining football. And the Argos have done such a great job allowing the rest of the league to borrow our quarterbacks. If you're doing the math, half of the league's remaining 8 teams are former Argos.
Yeah.
Mac, Cody Fajardo, Zach Halaros, and Trevor Harris. So you're welcome, CFL. You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mac. Yeah. Sorry. No, it's that's actually funny. They've all ran through the Argos system at some point, and early on in their careers, I would say, or earlier on. MBT, not so much, but
it's like the Argos are the foster parents. You raise them, you turn them into good players, and then let them go.
Look, I keep advocating for the league to allow 9 quarterbacks on a roster, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Only in training camp.
Yes.
So talking about double blue, that was a good voice crack. Talking about the double blue, I see that you're rocking that, it's not even a vintage A. It's more like the 2010. Let's call it the 2010s A, right?
Great. What, people actually don't really point this out too much. I believe this is circa 2018.
2018,
maybe 2017, but this is my favorite polo because it fits well. It's actually I get real squirrely about fit, and if I find something that fits comfortably, I have the secret is I have quite a number of these. As soon as I hear the word, I was like, I'm gonna get a bunch, like 3 or 4 of these. So It's not the same one you see all the time.
No, but what I was going to ask is if you could change anything with the current Toronto Argonauts uniform, and I know that that's actually one of my favorite logos. If I could change something, I would probably throw that logo back on the uniforms. But what would you change on the Toronto Argonauts uniform, and why? The current uniform.
Well, first of all, big kudos to the marketing team and the design team. For the most part, I've been in love with all of the threads that they've rolled out for the past, 20 years at least. I would like to see the boat logo feature the brown football.
Yeah.
There we go. This way. I would like to see that brown, I think. Aside from that, eventually, obviously we've got the all Cambridge look right now. I don't know how long they're going to wear those. They might go back to something a little more traditional where Oxford is the primary color. I love our current unis. I don't know if I'd change much. I really wouldn't.
Just the brown football on the boat.
Yeah, I really would. I mean, the cool thing about having two primary colors and white is that you get all kinds of great uniform combinations. I know there's a big debate about monochrome versus contrast. Some people are fans of all one color, top to bottom. I know players love it. Fans want to see a little bit more contrast. We get the best of both. Sometimes we'll see the team wear all Cambridge. Sometimes it's Oxford pants, Cambridge jerseys, white socks, Cambridge socks, Oxford socks. The only thing that doesn't change is the helmet. It's great to mix it up.
How cool would it be to see the John Candy era Argos word mark on the helmet again?
Well, you're speaking to my heart, brother. 91 is kind of where my journey with this football team started. That's when I fell in love with, being an Argos fan. I don't know if you were paying attention, but we actually saw it 2 seasons ago?
Yes. Yeah.
We saw the A come back 2 seasons ago. The 2022 season, they wore one game. But yeah, aside from that, I don't know that it would work unless the whole thing came out.
Yeah.
If they rock the whole thing, then that would have to be some type of an anniversary of the 91 season. I'd be here for it. I'd be absolutely
real. That would be. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, my favorite uniforms in the entire league are the Toronto Argonauts uniforms.
Yeah, because you're a big teal fanatic.
They're
but
so nice.
I think in general,
we're recording this, right? That's on record.
I love the green and gold. I love the green and gold.
That's not a real. That's not a real. Well, no, but I think on the Labor Day matches, the match and then the rematch, everybody's rivalry matches.
Yeah,
I think everybody should have throwback uniforms for that weekend.
Love that idea. Where do I sign? Love that idea. But who decides? How do we decide what era the uniforms will be?
Yeah, see now, and I feel like people our age, we would be loving 90s. We would really want to see 90s, 80s type, right? Now you look at Saskatchewan. I think Saskatchewan, they bring theirs back all the way like 40, 50 years or something, 60 years or something like that on their Labor Day Classic Banjo Bowl Part 1 uniforms. So, anything to see a good throwback. Once again, I liked what the Edmonton Elks did with that uniform. But I want to see that 91 Argos style come back in full uniform as well. So,
well, the NHL has a heritage line, right? They have
reverse retros, yeah.
Not that, but they have. Maybe they don't currently, but I know for a while you could buy a Blackhawks jersey, a Sabres jersey, or whatever, and it would have the same, NHL heritage lineup or something, and it would be a jersey from that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yes. I actually have a blue and white version of the same ones you're talking about, the CCM vintage.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, how cool would it be to pull up CFL.ca and go to the shop and buy a Birmingham Barracudas jersey? Like, that's
RoyalRetros.com. Use code Shotgun Sports for 10% off over at RoyalRetros.com, which does have the vintage CFL jerseys you are talking about, Adam. But further to the point, you are correct. The CFL could be capitalizing. Actually, our good friends over at the IFAF have a special line that they're releasing for this weekend, but getting
Royal Retros,
through Royal Retros. But
definitely check it out.
Like Mitchell and Ness, and like a lot of these throwback retro vintage companies, right? The CFL, that's once again a great marketing opportunity for the league.
People will buy it.
Can I assume that if the CFL is obviously involved, then they would have made obviously they would have had to sell that license.
I think that I want to say they might have, but I don't think the CFL did. I think it is on the same fundamentals as our good friend Reed Clark owning the Edmonton Trappers logo. I'm guessing that the rights ran out on it and they ended up buying the rights, but I do know they're legal. You should go check it out. They also have throwback styles that are replica. So obviously, it is a green and gold forever or whatever for the Double E style jersey. So some of that stuff is not exact to what they would do back in the day. But further to the point, the CFL could be cashing in on this.
Of course.
Yeah, we all want to see the league thrive and grow, and I'm sure they're always looking for additional revenue streams. I believe there's an appetite for merchandise amongst our fan bases, especially when it comes to retro merchandise. Right, everybody went to a first game somewhere, and it's usually that era that kind of sticks with us, right? Whether it's 80s, 90s, 70s, 2000s. It would be cool to have access to that type of merchandise on the regular.
Well, and the new era turf traditions.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The turf traditions here, they sell out every single year.
Yeah.
When they come up with a new line of turf traditions, right? So
yeah. The vintage Double E, that people eat that up. Adam, where can we find you online?
All right, real simple. At Adam Goss on Twitter /X.
Nice.
And on Instagram at AF Goss.
And then what's your game prediction for Saturday?
Well, that's a great question. If we see the same version of the Argos we saw in week 1, I'm not sure it'll be close. We're mainly healthy. I think Flo Ormalade will be out and Tavares Daniels will be out, but we'll be getting DeMonte Coxey back. So my prediction would be 27-18 Argonauts.
I like it.
Reasonable.
We will talk about our prediction a little bit later on, Adam, because we are here to have a great time with you and not have any sort of argument or anything like that. But I mean, hey, we are definitely going to still, with good sportsmanship, wish your team the best. Adam, this was fantastic. We know that you're a busy guy, so we'll let you jump off here. But man, this was an absolute blast. We're going to have to have you back on the show. More importantly, man, we hope you have a lot of fun and hope you kill it up there in the PA booth at BMO Field for this Saturday's Elks versus Argos game.
Guys, thank you for having me. What a treat. Please continue to do what you do. The CFL needs this. You guys do a great service to the fan bases, not just at Edmonton, but across the league. So thank you. Hope to see you sometime this season. Have a blast.
Perfect. Well. Thank you so much. Have an awesome night, man. And we'll see you soon enough here in Edmonton or in Toronto, brother. Thanks a lot, man.
Right, guys. Ciao.
Maine. That was Adam Goss, PA announcer for the Toronto Argonauts. huge shout out to Adam for joining the show today.
Yeah, he's such a likable guy. He has fans all over, even in Edmonton.
Oh, he's fantastic. Exactly. Yeah.
Just
All right, guys. So in this segment, we're going to talk to Chris about a number of topics in the CFL realm. Again, if you have any questions, comments, those are the chat and we'll put them on here. Let's do it.
do it.
Chris, your social media handle is Xpegger, obviously in reference to your roots with Winnipeg. Tell us about how you became a sports fan and why Winnipeg is so special to you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. When Twitter first started, wanted to come up with something unique. I had moved out to Ottawa, but my roots are still in Winnipeg. Lifelong Bomber fan. Started when Dad took me to the old Winnipeg Stadium, the old games, and sort of carried on ever since. And then moving to Ottawa, of course, the Renegades didn't exist at the time. The Red Blacks didn't exist yet either. So we didn't have any CFL there. So, of course, I'd be driving to Toronto or Montreal just to catch a Bomber game. And that's what sort of grew the interest in the league itself, rather than just cheering for a team. You start to get to know some fan bases and the differences. And the CFL is different, where we may not like each other's teams, and we certainly banter about it, but we like each other's fans. Like, we all get along. You call it the CFL family, right? In general, we all cheer for a Canadian league. It's ours. It's no one else's. That's what we love about it.
Nice.
Yeah, so would you say that's what you love the most about the CFL? I mean, we obviously see you abroad at other CFL stadiums, all over Canada.
So I'm at BMO last year.
Yeah, for games that don't necessarily feature your favorite team. So would you say that that's, you're just a big CFL fan and that's your favorite?
Yeah, Catherine, I love the game. I mean, it's a fantastic game. I've played football up to the high school years. I've coached it. Some of my kids have gone on to play in the CFL, so there's a tie there. But in the last little while, it really is the fans that you interact with that make going to a Toronto Montreal game, where there is no interest in either team, yet you can still enjoy the game. You go to an Edmonton BC game, and you just enjoy the actual outcome. Look at the first 6 weeks in our league this year, right? The games that have been played, the entertainment factor. I mean, Edmonton aside, okay, well, we have sympathy there as non-Edmonton fans, and I think you hear that from other fans, including even in Calgary, they're feeling, a little bit sorry. But the entertainment, the entertainment factor is rivaled by no other sports league right now. It's you got to watch right down to the last 8 seconds. It seems you cannot miss a thing.
Definitely. I mean, this season so far has been quite intense, and that's just even talking beyond the Edmonton Elks and their crazy streak that they have going on right now. But, we have seen some of the other games, and they're just as exciting. It's been a good season so far.
I agree, and being a Bomber fan, I mean, it didn't start well for us either, right? We knew at some point we were going to have to come down. 4 straight Grey Cup appearances. It's going to change. But two wins in a row, and all of a sudden, you're almost in a playoff spot. So, take heart, Elks fans. It's been a tough season, but it's a CFL. You're never truly out of it, until the end of the season, and we're not even close to Labor Day yet. So, we got a long season to go. Get that first win, start with that, get some momentum going, and I think the Elks have that. They've made the change. The chatter is out there. People are talking about the team, right, and about the changes. And I think the whole league is very interested to see what happens this week in Ottawa, to see how the team does.
No, and it's cool that you talk about that, because we definitely wanted to know your thoughts on Edmonton's situation. Now, I guess maybe even digging into it a little bit further, what did you think of the news about Chris Jones and him being released from the team? Like, what do you have any more thoughts on their situation? Do you think they've already hit rock bottom? Like,
yeah, from a business perspective, I was a little surprised. With the cap on the coaching, they were really in a tough spot. But after the last game, and you know, talking to some of the fans that I was sitting around, the passion they were showing, and the fact that they got up and left and walked out of Commonwealth Stadium, you know, as soon as that final whistle went, they weren't sticking around to talk or anything. That you knew then the Elks organization had to do something to save those fans. You can't lose the hardcore group that's still there, right? It's tough enough to get the casual walk-up fan to go. So you know, it was a little surprising on the business side, but ultimately it's a business and they have to do things for the fans, and they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. It was one of those things, right? You didn't really know what changes were going to be made, but as fans, you felt an impending doom.
Yes.
And for once, I had actually stayed for a tailgate beverage just to complain, and that never happens, right? Like we're always like, "Yep, out," right? And I was like, we had to sit there and yell about it and scream about it in the parking lot
Yes.
because it was that frustrating. So it's great that you recognize this
Yeah.
because this is what.
Oh yeah, and there were a few fans that stuck around as well, and it didn't matter who I was or who they were just they had to release their emotions, how frustrated and disappointed they were. I mean, we don't need to talk statistics or, you know, the win-loss record. The fans are well aware of that. It's just time for change, and at least one step has been done towards that.
Oh, great.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I remember walking out of that stadium and saying that the fans need something, that they need to give the fans something that they want. And in many ways, it feels like perhaps this decision was taking, a lot of fans into account. What they had been.
I agree. I think that had a big part of it. I mean, you've seen the chatter, the call-in shows, all of that. They hear all that too. And had they not made a change, I'm not sure how that would have gone over, for the rest of the season.
Definitely. But let's turn it around a little bit. Enough of the, we have half a show after you leave us for us to talk about all this big mess. But right now you're here for a reason. And the reason is because of your Guinness World Record attempt, visiting the 9 CFL stadiums in the shortest amount of time. So I'm sure, a lot of people have asked you this question. How did you come up with this idea and what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, no, I can't take credit for coming up with it. That goes to Bobby Dubois, right? He's the current record holder, living in BC. He did it on a whim and decided to apply to Guinness, and they accepted it. So he managed to do it and got it in the books. And the media picked up on it a little bit towards the end, and we enjoyed sort of where's Bobby at each game. And then I thought about it, my love of travel, love of the CFL. I thought that's a really cool thing to do. So when the league sent out the schedule in January, February timeframe, started looking around at different weeks to see what would work, what would be possible. And the first few weeks, it didn't pan out. And then I saw a couple weeks in July and I said, hey, this could work. Now, it took me probably a week or so to review that schedule to make sure I was not missing a game. Have I overlooked something? No, everything's good. And then thought, okay, you got to do the logistics, you got to do the traveling. Can I work it through the week? Where am I going to stay? Can I get tickets? All of these things over time. And once that kind of came together, then I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't want to announce it too early because I don't necessarily want anyone else to do it. But it came out, and I decided, you know what, I'm part of the CFL fans fighting cancer. Let's see if we can raise a couple dollars on the way. Maybe we can get $20 or something, and do it like that. So that's the beginning. That's how it started. And it's certainly gone anything beyond my imagination to this point. And we're only a weekend in, 3 games in. The momentum on this, the chatter that's going on, and people planning now, when I arrive at the stadium and what they're going to do for fundraising. You got to come here, and what time can you be here, and come to this part. It really is morphing into something so much bigger than just a Guinness record.
Oh, it's so cool. And I mean, CFL Fans Fight Cancer, very popular organization on this show.
I mean, what better, sorry to interrupt, but what better way to make an impact than to make something that you're passionate about the community, about, the well-being of somebody else. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing because I think we've all got a connection to someone with cancer or someone's battled or suffered. The fans that have come up at before and during the games that find me, some are saying, I had one lady in BC come up to me and say, I'm going for surgery on Friday, here's my donation, thank you, things like that. And that you definitely weren't expecting that. We were just hoping to raise a couple dollars, yet people are reaching out emotionally on this. So I think that has been fantastic, and we want to keep that momentum going. The fact that CFL Fans Fighting Cancer has been around for several years, it keeps growing year after year. People doing different things, whether it's barbecues, golf tournaments, everybody's chipping in, and it is a grassroots effort. There's no corporate sponsorship, there's no team doing this. These are true CFL fans that are just trying to do their best to make things better for whatever charity's chosen in the Grey Cup City that year.
Well, exactly. And this year it's Vancouver. Obviously, you're going to be going to the Grey Cup this year.
That's the plan. That'll be my 28th. I wouldn't miss it for anything. I'll say that. There isn't anything I know that I would miss it for.
And the CFL Fans Fight Cancer, there's a huge event. We're going to be there this year. Definitely going to be going to the event. It's going to be amazing. How much money so far, Chris? How much money's been raised?
So last year when the Hamilton team did it, they raised over $40,000 total, which was by far and away the highest amount any group's ever raised. So kudos to them. The Vancouver team has said, yeah, we're going to beat that. And based on what's happened sort of in the first weekend of this, we're over $12,000 already. So it has been amazing. People have been so generous. Started in Winnipeg. BC stepped up. You had their fantastic new tailgate area in Terry Fox Plaza, of course. No irony there. And then coming to Edmonton, the fans, them, they love to be generous, and they were. People in the stands, tailgate beforehand in the concourse, combined. It's just been fantastic to see.
That's amazing.
That is so cool. And once again, it's that saying that CFL is family, football is family, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, in the heat of the moment on that day, we're rivals if we're playing against your team. But at the end of the day, we all are there for a cause, the love of the game, and just to be good people towards others.
That's it. And I really do hope people feel that they're a part of something. I don't want this to be an I thing. I don't want this to be me. Yeah, I'm the guy holding the bucket. That's who I am.
Somebody has to.
Right. And maybe it gives some focus and awareness that people that didn't know about it, and there's probably lots of CFL fans that didn't know about the Fans Fighting Cancer group, that this may grow it for future years, way beyond sort of this 2-week period. So that's what we really want. And at the same time, if we're having fun playing a Where's Waldo, Where's Chris in the stands, at what game, and we managed to get the record, then that's great. That's a lot of fun. But there's no monetary prize for this. There's nothing other than a certificate one day that says we did this. But there is a lasting legacy. We're hoping that this money carries on and makes the world better in whatever way it can.
Exactly.
And really, this is, bringing the entire organization, the entire CFL together, and I mean, obviously, the league itself, by becoming part of something like this, they're taking steps towards making the league a lot better. Like, I think that is a really cool piece that they're really adopting to have improvements in the league. What do you think the CFL could do a little bit more? Is there, what are your thoughts on the league?
Yeah, so the CFL has sort of stepped back. I think they're always a little skeptical of these kind of things, right? They don't want to tag their name to it because they don't know how it's going to play out. The media, however, has jumped on, and TSN, I mean, other than sort of letting them know where I'm going to be, they've come up with whatever graphics, I started getting the messages saying, hey, are you a pilot now, or you got your own plane you're flying? I had no idea what they were talking about at the time, but I think it's fun, and maybe even some of the younger fans can start following along as well. So yeah, Catherine, to your point, I think it's hopefully a good, fun news story for people. The CFL has had some negative stories when we're talking about Sean Lemon, we're talking about Chad Kelly. These are not the stories we want to be at the forefront of our league. So this is something I hope that they can also jump on. Hey, we've got 2 weeks to go, 6 more games. There's lots of room on the bandwagon. We'll take them.
Oh, totally, exactly. I mean, this is one of those fun stories everybody can get behind. Once again, I think we have even the QR codes to donate to CFL fans fight cancer.
Yeah, we'll
somewhere.
make sure to add those on our descriptions in our posts.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we'll even try to maybe proactively get some content up. We'll see, but yeah, I mean, whatever we can do to promote this as well. Like we said, it's great. You were sitting at 6:30 Chad's booth. We were supposed to go deliver smoke sliders, finagle some airtime in. No, they found a better story. They found the person they should have. Is Chris, right, with this event. So really cool, man. We really hope you nail it. Now let's get to some fun questions about the CFL. Who are your teams going to the Cup? Who do you think is going to the Grey Cup?
That's a tough question right now. I'll bet if you asked that 2 weeks ago, you get a completely different answer. I think this week is actually going to be really critical to determine that. The game, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, right? This early in the season normally doesn't mean anything. But with Saskatchewan coming off its first loss, Winnipeg sort of on a roll, getting some confidence, going into Regina. And if Winnipeg wins that, all of a sudden now Labor Day becomes that much bigger. So that's sort of the back end. Calgary, you never know, right? They seem to be doing okay. They never really rise up, but they're right there. And like we said earlier, with Edmonton, if they get their first win, get on a roll, they're never that far out. But I really do think in the West, it's BC. They've shown flashes of brilliance, and they've had some struggles as well, but if they get their stuff together for the rest of the year, I think the path to Grey Cup goes through Vancouver in the West Final, let alone in the Grey Cup. And then the East is a whole different ball of wax. You got Montreal, this juggernaut, right? And I think having their first loss will actually do them better. They'll reset and know that, okay, this isn't going to be an undefeated season. We got to work hard the entire time. They're the class of the East. Toronto has bounced back. The whole Chad Kelly situation could change things down the road. So they're never count them out. And Ottawa, where I'm living now, season seed holder in the Red Blacks, they've had some frustrating years too. They can relate to the Elks season, but they seem to have found their guy in Drew Brown, and some speedy receivers, and the offense seems to be clicking. So I think it'll be a Montreal-Ottawa Eastern final. Hamilton, they're in a tough spot. I do think they're going to get their first win this weekend, but they got a long way to go, and I just hope the window hasn't closed on their chance to get off the Grey Cup slide. It's never fun. I don't want to see them go 29 years. Trust me, that is a not fun period.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of going that way. So
Yeah,
let's not
good.
let's not talk about that.
I like that Ottawa. I like that Ottawa Montreal East final prediction. That's what you said, right? It was Ottawa. Montreal.
Yeah, that's what I think it'll be. And right now, I would say Montreal is probably going to repeat going to the Grey Cup against BC, which I think would be a fantastic matchup. At this time, that's U.S. Scout. That'd be my prediction.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, going to a Grey Cup. I know that there's been those situations. I personally have never been part of them. This is going to be my first Grey Cup that I've ever been to. So, but
This is exciting.
Having BC as a finalist, maybe in the Grey Cup in BC, like that's going to be
It could be wild, right? Well, and then there's another thing too with like your ticket is like it's a stock.
Right.
So it's a stock to find out, did I did I waste my money? Could I have waited until the last possible second to get a $20 Grey Cup ticket? Or is it truly worth its value because the host city, the host team is there? So in the host city,
Suddenly
in the Grey Cup.
you could make a pretty profit
It's
if you
it's
decide not to
funny.
go.
It's funny. It's
And people do, right? We know the Rider fans, they're passionate. They buy the tickets up on the premise that their team's going to be in the Grey Cup. And the moment it's not, there's tickets galore available for sale.
oh, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
so true. So, what would you say your favorite CFL stadium is?
I guess it depends on what you describe as favorite. My favorite is Ottawa for the reason that it's probably the most social, fun stadium in the league. I think some of the older franchises, they have their fan bases that go for the game. They're passionate football fans. That's what they're there for. Where Ottawa is so young, and the ownership there has turned it into the place to be on game day. So you have your core group of hardcore football fans. They're there for the Red Blacks. But more so, you've got casual fans that don't want the FOMO. They don't want to miss out. They want to be part of the party, the fun, and the concourse there. Everybody's in a social mood. They're having fun. They're dressing up in their plaid or their cowboy, whatever. And it really is a social atmosphere. Unlike, there are pockets in every other stadium that you get that social aspect, but not quite as much as Ottawa. And that may change over time as they get more established. But right now, it's such a new team. The Senators have struggled for years, so people have shied away from that. And they found a fun place, an affordable place, an entertaining place in Ottawa, though they've had some struggles with home wins as well over the last few years.
That's so cool though, because you're right. You could wear plaid, you could wear whatever is Canadian really at TD Place, and it's acceptable. And it's so funny because we go for the game. The first 3 hours before the game, that's our tailgate, that's our social. But then we go sit down. Even when there's people kind of around us, like we cheer with our fans and we chant with our fans, but we're there for the game. I'm there locked in. I got to see what the plays are. We're dissecting plays. Like it's all football in those ones. So that's cool. I want to go to Ottawa.
At the same time, I feel like the Edmonton Elks want to be in that exact same position.
Yes,
right? That's where
what
they want to be. They want to start bringing in the newer crowd, the younger crowd, the crowd that doesn't necessarily have a lot of involvement in football as of yet, but they could, right? Bring in a new generation of football fans. Unfortunately, I think for us to get to that point, we're gonna say we need a few wins under our belt to get a little bit more attention from the media, from word of mouth, that they have to come in and that this is where the party is, right? I mean, you see it with the Edmonton Oilers here.
Yep.
Every single game day is a massive party all around the city. So I can't wait until the Edmonton Elks can say the same thing as Ottawa, that's the party spot on game day.
And they're on their way. You talked about winning. Obviously, yeah, that brings the fans out. But the tailgate experience that Edmonton has set up, and the organization has bought into that. It started from a small corner of the parking lot. Now you guys have taken over an entire parking lot, and you walk around, and it rivals some of the college and NFL type tailgates. I've always said Hamilton has the best tailgate in the league, and it'll be a while before anybody replaces that. But you guys certainly have something on the go. Ottawa doesn't have that. They have a very, very small tailgate of dedicated 20 solid hardcore fans that set up in a park, a 25-minute walk away from TD Place. Good on them, but it doesn't create that atmosphere. So you're right. That may be the reason that Ottawa has that social aspect, because there's no other place for it. There isn't a tailgate. So yeah, if you guys can carry what you have in the tailgate inside the stadium at some point, then it's going to be a good time.
Well, and that's as long as fans have a reason to celebrate after the game as well. I think, like we said, right, winning cures everything. But even in Ottawa, right, like you said, they had a rough go getting home wins as well, especially over the last couple of years. It's cool to see them rebound that, but even just getting to that baseline as an organization as far as performance and competitiveness, As
Well,
long as you just get to a baseline where you're getting home wins at least,
for sure.
money in the bank, right?
And
You
I
can-
think it's also nice that they don't necessarily have the competition of other very successful franchises, such
well,
as the Edmonton Oilers.
Ottawa Senators, right?
Right? They're
It's
not. They're tanking a little bit. So I could see that people that really love sports, they really want to get something that perhaps is not, the
Yeah.
Senators.
yeah,
So-
sure. Now, Chris, would outside of Winnipeg, would you say that you would be an Ottawa Red Blacks fan, or what? Who else would you be cheering for? In this?
I would, and I tell the fans there, and they kind of accept me. I still wear the Bomber jersey to all the Red Blacks games, and they're the new people that are there. They're like, well, who's that guy? Like, don't worry, that's just Chris. He's fine. He does his own thing. We just let him do it.
He's harmless.
It is, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if Winnipeg's not in town, then I'm one of the loudest fans for the Red Blacks for sure. And they've got a great fan base going there too. And like I said, the games are a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so cool. No, it's I can only imagine. Like, I mean, I've done that with my favorite NHL team and stuff, but it's a little bit different when you're a season ticket holder. You're putting your money into that organization, right? It's way different. So it's cool what you're doing out there. It's also cool what you're doing across the CFL once again, across these 9 stadiums. We're gonna let you go here right away, Chris. But where can we find you, and where can people donate online?
No, I appreciate that. I got to get some sleep before we head out for the next weekend, so that's good. They can certainly follow me on Twitter, on X at xpager. We'll try and keep that up to date. They can also go to childhoodcancerresearch.org/fundraising/CFL-FFC. It's a mouthful, but you can pretty much Google it very quickly. It'll come up. The Michael Cuccione Foundation in Vancouver is the cancer research center that is going to benefit this year from all of the fundraising. So we certainly appreciate everybody that's donated or plans to donate. This is a collective effort. It's been so wonderful to see such a positive thing from so many people from across basically Western Canada at this point. Eastern Canada, we will make our first trip this weekend, so we're expecting a lot from you as well.
Awesome, man. No, we'll definitely be watching, especially on TSN as well, where they have your graphic.
We'll keep up.
No, for sure. We'll let you get some rest, but thanks again for joining us, Chris. We'll make sure we watch your journey here. Good luck on the rest of it, on the mission, and we hope you have an awesome night, man.
Yeah, safe.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much, and enjoy the upcoming chat about Chris Jones. I'll be listening intently.
Perfect, man. No, for sure. Definitely appreciate it once again. Have an awesome one, man.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Oh, there you go.
And that was Chris Timofachuk.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Chris for joining us. The Y does screw you up a little bit on the name. It's so funny. We talked about it before the show. Also, a big shout out to everyone for watching or listening right now. Let's do this. Some more didn't know. Brian, we know you're a big sports fan. We got like I know that there's like a lot of leagues. We're gonna get into that, but what was your first sports memory? Like, how did your fandom progress to where you're at now?
For every sport, or do you just mean CFL specifically?
Well, no, in general, what was your first sports memory? What kind of kick started your...
My first sports memory was my uncle taking me to a Blue Jays game, September of 1993. So it would have been just right before that playoff run for the back-to-back. And that was my fondest memory so far.
How old were you?
Oh, I'd have been 6.5.
Yeah, see, that's exciting. That's exciting when you think about, things that just shape who you are as a person, how early that can start.
Right, those early core memories.
Yes.
It's crazy how early they can start and what can trigger them. But yeah, it's those special moments. You never realize in the moment, though, who potentially like future Hall of Famers that you're seeing, like Griffey or Jay Buhner or those kind of guys. And then you'll think back and look ahead now to 20 years, 30 years later, and you're like, oh, cool. What they turn out to be.
Oh, crazy. Just like Andrea says here in the herd chat, right? Good time for a Blue Jays game, 93. Joe Carter.
Right. Actually, speaking of Joe Carter, me and you obviously with the great opportunity to meet said legend.
Oh, fantastic day.
Wow.
And now, based on that, would you say that the Blue Jays are part of your favorite sports teams now?
Growing up an hour away from Toronto, kind of hard not to be. Also have played at the Rogers Center a couple times myself, so yeah, definitely some soft spots.
That's cool. Do you have any other favorite sports teams other than the Blue Jays?
We got the Maple Leafs. One of those diehard that been a Leafs fan all my life. Thank you to my Aunt Mona that got me into them when I was young, but like the Dallas Cowboys, they always break your heart.
Yeah. Well, listen, we know a little bit about that over here.
Yeah.
Over here in Edmonton.
You guys have got the championships though in your lifetime. We're still kind of waiting.
In your lifetime. Yeah, I guess that's the point.
Well, I mean, we got the Jays, so after battle.
So I would assume then that you've seen the Jays in person, you've seen the Leafs in person, you've even seen the Edmonton Elks in person. What other teams have you got to see live?
I've been to the Stanley Cup final game in Detroit in 2009, so I got to see Pittsburgh and Detroit. Went to the Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh before it closed down. Been to the Saddle Dome in Calgary, which, I mean, rival city. But yeah, speaking of which, excited to see what their new arena is going to look like. But with any technology or kind of advancements, you're hoping to see what kind of arenas they can come up with these days.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to say that it's going to look the same as Rogers Place or very comparable. So, we'll see.
I think Rogers is always going to be a lot more beautiful. Now, Andrea here in the herd chat, did I hear right? Brian is a Cowboys fan. I think he was referring to how the Maple Leafs seem to flounder all the time. But Brian, your NFL team is
also from Texas, but not the Cowboys. I am a Houston Texans fan.
There you go.
That's also thanks to not even strictly football. JJ Watt. How could you not love that guy's personality and all he did for that city after the hurricane?
Good old boy from Wisconsin,
Building them mansions.
Only T-Pain could rhyme. Mansion in Wisconsin.
Oh, and we have here John, who's always, talking smack a little bit.
In
and
the
we
herd
love
chat.
him for it.
I love it.
The Bears are going to win tomorrow. Sorry, Brian.
I mean, it's okay. It's a Hall of Fame game. You got to get your feet wet to begin the season. It's all fun game.
You know what, John, to combat that, Jordan Love has the keys to Soldier Field, okay? So go Pack, it's not just A-Rod anymore.
Listen, don't bring the Bears up because we have Packers, fan over here that is constantly saying.
The groups are just unbearable. But anyways, let's get back to the CFL here. Brian, you're an Edmonton Elks fan, despite being to the Argonauts and the Tiger Cats. Why are you an Edmonton Elks fan despite living in Ontario?
Sometimes it's not always where you grew up, and sometimes certain teams just draw you in. When I became an Elks fan, it was the fan base. The fans are what got me hooked and sunk into enjoying the game, and obviously that was a few years ago before the losing streak at home, but it was still a super enjoyable experience with all the fans and just the camaraderie. It was part of a lot of Edmonton sports are just literally that. It's all about the fans. So that's it. Like being from Toronto, it's more business aspect, more, hey, take your clients here to the game, take them to sporting events. Edmonton, I find it's more take your buddy to the game. We're going to have a couple of beers and have a good time.
That's cool. That's cool to hear. I mean, I personally don't have a lot of experience with other fan bases. Perhaps maybe Toronto would have been my only other experience so far. And fortunately for us, we ran into people that have very much that same mentality, right? Yeah. It's about welcoming your buddies. Let's have a good time. This is for everybody. So it's really cool to hear that even people from other parts of the country see us Edmonton Elks fan as that we're definitely welcoming. And yeah.
That is nice. And somewhere else where they're very welcoming, we all got to go to a game at BMO Field last year.
Right. Yeah.
And Ginger Argo and his crew over there,
Wild
they
hospitality.
brought us in like we were their own, right?
Right. As a fan of the Elks herd, and just as friends of you guys, to go and be from Toronto, have you guys fly in, visit, go to a game, but then get recognized by so many people. It was kind of surreal.
Hey, that was really sweet. You know, we also saw the cash cab. There was a lot of really cool parts about that.
Yes.
I lost a passport. I think
Oh, you still
I
So-
hope the government of Canada is listening. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I have that passport.
Yes!
I ended up finding it, but believe it is expired now.
Oh, it is definitely expired. I just want to make sure that it didn't make it into the wrong hands because the government would question me because that would be like number 3 or number 4 I've lost.
Would you look at that developments here at the Elks?
This is
Because
amazing.
Brian has been around for a couple of days, and we just learned about this here now live.
This is an Elks call, an Elks
Oh.
call miracle. But yes, I did actually want to ask you a question here from the herd chat. John here is asking, Brian, thoughts on the Toronto CFL team playing at BMO Field, which is a soccer stadium. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a nice stadium, but for me as a football fan, I like to be a little closer to the action. But that's just literally being super picky. Good coverage, good venue as far as I'm concerned. I've only been there once, so it's kind of hard to really compare. I've only been to 2 CFL stadiums, if you want to call BMO Field a CFL stadium. It is equipped for everything, but I mean, better equipped than what the Skydome was years ago.
Oh, that's
True.
very true.
And I mean, seeing that you've only been to a couple of CFL stadiums, and one of them being Commonwealth, of course. What do you say you like it better?
So you got to have some history there. History doesn't define a stadium, but it does certainly make the legacy a little bit bigger and better. With the length of Commonwealth and how long it's been around and the history behind it and how much has gone on at Commonwealth, there's that legacy there. BMO Field just doesn't quite have that yet. I'm not saying it can't happen, but yeah, it's kind of hard.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
No,
That's
how else to say it?
sorry.
No, sorry, that's it. I was just gonna say how else to say it. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I think what I was kind of going for is just the sheer size. I mean, one of the biggest things that we've seen right now is that we don't get enough people to fill a place like Commonwealth Stadium, which is why we closed the upper bowl for that specific reason. BMO Field is a lot smaller, and in many ways, it being smaller, it makes it look a lot fuller. It makes it feel like there's a lot more people. Maybe the ambiance and everything's a lot more electric in that way. And I know that somebody here, I know I did see it here in St. John, the stands used to be electric here at Commonwealth.
Exactly.
We don't necessarily see it anymore. So with that, BMO being smaller, do you think that's a better venue because of that better environment?
Yeah, it does kind of bring more of an intimate aspect to it when you're a little bit more closer and everybody's more involved. But the on-field product also does impact the butts in the seats.
No, and that's very true. What I will say about BMO, it was when I was meeting Pinball and I was trying to make my way up to Adam Goss. Fortunately, couldn't get there, but I ran into Pinball, and I knew that we were obviously on offense because it was going crazy. The tin can effect was going wild in BMO, right? So it was really cool to see how, yes, the fans do get electric in that small sample size, but we're also talking about 12,000 fans in comparison to the 20, 30, sometimes 40.
Yeah.
Haven't seen the 40s in a while here, but like, once again, going back to St. John's comment in the herd chat,
It
but
used to be like that.
it used to be like that, right? Now, with Toronto winning and having Chad Kelly, what does suck is they had the momentum going, stalled out because obviously there was some off-season stuff, off-season news that came about, right? And uh, whatever, that's not our problem. It does set them back a little bit. It's just like us.
Yeah.
Every loss here in Edmonton, you lose another clump of fans. There was a clump of fans comment by St. John as well in here. You can still feel it in the small clumps of faithful, but I miss the hot tubs starting the wave.
I've heard about that.
Yes,
Never heard that one.
you could be able to tell from when you scored from blocks
Yeah.
away.
Right.
The fans used to go crazy here, and Brian, you've been a part of that. So let's kind of dig into that. We know that you've seen the Double E in person, both pre and post Elks rebrand. I wish I could have gotten you the picture quick enough, but Brian's in one of my favorite profile pictures, the TSN double flex. The guy's in behind saying, "Lord, help me." You're sitting there staring at the scoreboard, right? Very epic picture. So that was before they rebranded to the Edmonton Elks. Here we are. Currently, you just saw the Edmonton Elks play last season. What's your thoughts on the new name, and does it affect your fan?
I don't think the name change necessarily changes a lot of the fans' views on the team per se. Sure, it might, how do I want to put it? Not change their views, but some people don't like change. So obviously they're not going to necessarily agree with it. They might not necessarily be against it. They might just not know how to feel. But Elks, Eskimos, it's still Edmonton regardless. It's still green and gold. You still the Double E. There's still a lot of those same things that go with being an Edmonton Elk Eskimo.
Nice.
You know what? And I wish that a lot more people around here saw it that way.
Oh,
Right? Because now we have people that are Edmontonians that don't even see it that way. That just because of a single shift, a little change, they don't recognize that it's still all of those things. It's still Edmonton, it's still Double E, it's still green and gold.
Just people are very regimented and don't like change. And sometimes even like that kind of small, minute thing, just people don't care for.
it's so
Well,
frustrating.
And that being said, we've talked about the name change and how delusional people are when they say that it affects the team. Let's just put it that way. But what are your thoughts on the current state of the team?
I mean, top down, there could be improvements in all sorts of ways. Like from ownership down, there's got to be accountability everywhere. And honestly, people just need to start doing better. When you look at the standings or the stats and you're near the bottom of almost every statistical category, something has to change. So, I mean, you change the coach. I mean, it's not going to change overnight. Things are going to take a little bit of time to happen, but I guess preach patience and hopefully make a couple changes. Don't do anything drastic, but you can't hope to change absolutely everything and hope it's going to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the scary part, right? That we all know and understand that there needs to be changed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even I know we'll talk a little bit about it. We've kind of briefly mentioned it last week about the possibility of just doing a full, just change everything from the ground up, top down, bottom to top. And how scary is that though, right? Is
Yeah.
that really even the right decision? That there's a lot of what ifs, a lot of moving parts that, like, where do you start? What do you change first?
Well, and we're going to talk about that in the
Mhm.
fan forum later on. There is a comment in the herd chat that I liked if we just scroll up just a little bit. So John's solution here: Green Bay Packers versus Edmonton Elks. Whoever wins gets to keep the green and gold, and whoever loses has to change their colors.
Like, how many times? What was it? I was looking for something in particular. I was looking for a picture for one of our graphics, and I got super confused when I was looking at these pictures. I'm like, why is there this doesn't look like MBT? And I was being shown pictures of love in the Green Bay Packers, and it looked exactly the same. And I was so confused for a second. So yes, I agree. Battle it out.
and St. John also here in the herd chat. I feel the same way with the name. The double E is all that matters. They don't shy away or edit articles about the past team. Eskimos is written on jerseys and posters throughout the facility. Yeah, and then Daryl Henderson. I want the yellow numbers back. Can the owner make that happen?
First change, number one, little steps, one at a time. Let's bring the yellow numbers back.
I can tell you that the gold numbers will be most likely returning next year because this is the last year that the white numbers will. Like, I think they're under contract. This is the last year of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, that's obviously not confirmed and does not come directly from the team, but speculation, widespread speculation, and that's why they also put the gold outline on those new numbers as well.
But think about it, right? Like how little really it takes to make certain fans happy.
Yeah.
Right? Even changing the color of a jersey to yellow numbers would bring a lot of happiness to a lot of people.
Because that's tradition. That's tradition.
Course.
Just like Andrea is saying here in the herd chat, yes, the Eskimos era, that's the Eskimos. Current era is Elks, but nobody's erasing that Eskimos history at the same time. You need to still connect the two. Mm-hmm. So by bringing in white numbers, that was never a good choice by the organization. Let's be real. The white numbers made you look like the Green Bay Packers. Like, you watch a lot of NFL, Brian. Well, like, white numbers are not associated with the Edmonton Elks.
Changes will happen, though. People aren't going to like them.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And maybe that was a bit of an NFL experiment. Try to make them a little bit more like the Packers to make fans view. But that still doesn't make sense.
I think my point was that it really doesn't take much to bring some positivity into this team, right? And I mean, we'll talk a little bit about it as well as we talk about the whole Trey situation, but even look at what putting Trey in did for the fandom in just 10 minutes, right? Even if it doesn't take too much to make people feel heard. If it's bringing back yellow numbers, starting Trey in a couple of games, you know, those things that you're at least showing that you're listening to the fans and you're taking what they say into consideration, then those are really good steps at bringing back the faith, I think, and some of that confidence and some of that, you know, I don't know, trust. I guess that would be the
trust and tradition. Trust and tradition, right? It's just, you need to still follow your traditional ways, and the moment you stride away from that, you have issues and you lose. Yes, here we go, right? St. John talking about the Trent Brown. We are going to talk about that. Brian, also at the end of the More You Didn't Know, I think we're going to ask you your opinion on this. But with Trent Brown coming and stating that the alumni and shareholders are not being utilized or even consulted for opinions or anything like that, it does feel shady. If you're going to respect them, listen to them.
Right? What's the point in asking somebody's opinion if you're just going to turn around and do the exact opposite?
Well, yeah, let's just hash this right now, right? Like that Trent Brown.
Let's talk about it right now.
Seriously. Brian just heard it right before we went live here, and he got to hear a very notable alumnus go off on the Edmonton Elks and how bad the board and those top end types have let down the fans, have let down the alumni, have let down sponsors, have let down so many people, and all of that trickles down. Like, would you say that all trickles down to your team, Brian?
Oh, 100%. If you have no faith in your ownership or your management, where do you go on the field? Because it trickles down through management to your coaches, to everybody, and then you almost have a little self-doubt, and you're like, well, what are we doing? Where's our purpose?
I saw it from Dave Campbell, I believe, that, you know, he mentioned that when you get to a record like 0-7, that we know that's when players start to check out.
Yeah.
And and this is all coming from the top down, and if there's a lot of these kinds of talks going around, a lot of speculations, a lot of, you know, even the players seeing that the shareholders, stakeholders, or whoever representatives are not being heard, who are they to think that their needs are going to be heard too.
Here's the thing, right? I hate to speak extremely, like I hate to get this heated about it. But when the board doesn't care,
Right.
the players aren't gonna care. And that's unfortunately the land that we have brought ourselves to.
Mhm.
Tom Richards and company, unfortunately, even though he's a former player, even though he's had multiple opportunities to right this ship, the board has never been sufficient. The board's operations. We're talking about volunteers here.
Mhm.
And you can't tell me that anybody will volunteer their way to caring about a team to the point where they hurt themselves, to the point where they go through sleepless nights and everything else. And maybe they are. But without money, you can only care so much without money. That's where I'm going with that.
Where's the incentive? There's
We're,
no incentive if you're just playing for free.
what you get an organizational championship ring. Congratulations.
Well, no, and I think if you're passionate about a team and you want to volunteer for the team, it's because you have that passion behind it, right? But if what you're saying, your opinions, your advice, your insights are not being accounted for, then why the hell would you even want to be part of that organization?
That's exactly it. There's no
Right?
accountability.
Yeah.
And that's what Trent Brown was describing.
Mhm.
Like Stan the Cat, Brian here, immediately identified. He's like, yeah, nobody's accountable. There's zero accountability. You just keep firing people. And you just keep hiring people. And you just keep churning and you churn and you churn. You know, look at Chris Jones year one. Sure, you're going to expect some churn of players and guys in and out, and you're trying to plug and play and see what works best, and you build upon that year two. Sure. But this organization has never been able to do that above the roster for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You look
Well,
at the Brock Sunderland years, the
It's a
Jamie Elzano.
revolving door.
It's a revolving door. So when you see that, how do you have faith in who you're working for?
Mhm.
That's the problem. Nobody has any faith in their bosses over in Commonwealth Stadium. And we say this in an opinion. We don't know anything on the other side of the fence. But based on what Trent Brown said today, and it is true, everybody should listen. That doesn't mean that you don't need to cheer for the team. That doesn't mean that there's things that aren't fun or there's nothing fun with the Edmonton Elks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun to be had, and we're going to talk about it in the next question here.
Yeah.
We took a little pit stop to talk about this. But the reality is that if your bosses at the top don't give a damn, you're not going to give a damn at the bottom as a peon. It doesn't in an organizational structure.
And especially if there's no compensation, like you said, Brian, right?
That's
I mean,
like playing poker for free. It's a free tournament. You play a lot differently than you do when you're paying to play.
very much so,
That's
right?
it.
And I think that's why, I mean, while I understand that there's a lot of really good things about community owned, I feel like with community ownership, if you have stakeholders and if you have advisors, everybody needs to be accounted for and they
And
all
consulted.
100%, because otherwise you're just this one person running an organization and everybody else gets absolutely nothing.
Dictatorship.
On the other hand, by having a sole ownership or an ownership group being in charge of it, now there's some sort of compensation
That's their money on the line.
That's your job. At
Yeah.
that point, it's your job to make this happen.
That's exactly it. And that's like this is a fan form question, but we're gonna hash it out right now anyways, right? You know, how fast does this team need to get to private ownership? How fast do they need to announce it? How fast do they need to get rid of this goddamn board?
Yeah.
Really? No, based on what Trent Brown, and it's not like we're talking about a Pete Sender coming out and talking. It's not like we're talking about, you know, a fringe player or player that was with the team for a year or two. We're talking about Trent Mother effing Brown, who is somebody that is highly regarded, highly respected. Oh, James H. Brown is one of the biggest sponsors of the Edmonton Elks. So let's talk about somebody that has put his heart and soul, however he can, into the organization as an alumni member. And he feels that the alumni don't get the respect that they deserve. They don't even get proper use of the alumni room, which is, we thought it was Victor Cui. It wasn't Victor Cui. This stuff's coming from the board.
Yeah.
When you see certain alumni posting on Facebook that this is rotten from the core. This begs the question, how fast does ownership need to be announced? Brian, what's your thoughts?
How do you not look internally when your longest standing members of the team aren't disgruntled and aren't happy? Like, these guys have been members of the organization for how many years and been a part of it, and they want to come and enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy a game or the amenities, and they can't even do that. How do you come somewhere and leave unhappy?
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because a lot of these alumni are diehard fans, right? They were part of the organization and they have it so ingrained in them that they truly, truly want the best for the organization, even if they no longer play for the organization. And then to hear words like that the organization is rotten to the core, it's pretty heartbreaking.
Like when you see one of the biggest advocates, somebody that goes to Jasper with his gear on, Jed Roberts, goes to Jasper with his double E gear on, goes snowboarding with his family, represents everywhere he goes. And to see that guy run out of steam for the Elks, to see that guy run out of positivity for the Edmonton Elks, and then, to see how things have changed now over the last 2 to 3 weeks, as this news rolls out and as alumnus start speaking up on this, and as this news starts to develop even harder, this is a time bomb.
Yeah.
Ownership needs to come ASAP. Let's see. There you go. I like what Daryl says here in the herd chat. Trent brought a scary proposition to light. After this, many missteps, and we're supposed to trust this board. We'll select the current.
Right.
We'll select the current owner of the team for the foreseeable future. Scary
Because
stuff, man.
Just to confirm, they have the power to veto it, correct?
The board has power. That's the problem that Daryl's talking about here. The board has power.
Too much.
Too much power, and we're going to trust them after they have just screwed up this organization, screwed up even as far back as the Len Rose days, right?
Well, I think the hope here is that the board, even if they have their own selfish, reasons or whatever, that they may not necessarily be looking they may not necessarily be looking for an owner that has the best interests of the team. Let's just make that assumption. Worst case scenario, they really are selfish and they don't care about the state of the team. They just want somebody to buy it. My best case scenario, my hope is that whoever does decide to buy it has the team under their best interests.
But it can't just be money. You can't just walk in and say, "Oh, let's throw money at our problems." No. And this is what Trent was saying, and this is what the alumni are saying. This is what fans are saying. This is what everybody in the atmosphere of Double E and Edmonton Elks, this is what the people want. They need to be able to love this team and pour their heart and soul and actually give a rat's ass about the history. Like, even in this horrible mishmash of an organization right now, in transition, in trying to find a win, XYZ, whatever's going on with this organization, at least they are rolling out the all decades. They're still honoring the 75th. They're trying to do the best they can. There's people in that organization that are working their derrieres off.
Well, and that's just it. There's people in that organization that care. We have, the Jamesons that are going back into the organization and working for them because he truly has a passion for it.
Yeah.
We have Superfan Mike that is putting his effort, his time, his passion into every single one of those videos that we see, every single one of those collections that we see. We need people like that to run the organization.
You need a Trent Brown or something. But hey, getting back to it though, guys, let's let cooler heads prevail here. One thing that Trent Brown did speak about positively is the tailgate party, which we will say Herdes has served Trent Brown for 2 tailgates in a row now, so he's a friend of the herd as well. But Trent Brown, he did say that tailgating is one of the greatest things going with this organization right now. Brian, you've also been to a Double E tailgate, one or two. You've also been to an Argos tailgate. So, what's your thoughts on the rise of CFL tailgating? What's your experience so far? Give us your thoughts.
I tell you what, tailgating has come a long way. Buddy, the camaraderie is what brings the fans to the game. And really, what really truly brings the fans to the game, but food and then football. Well, you don't want to go to a game hungry, so you might as well go fed. Have a couple of brews and a bratwurst before the game, hang out with some buds. Well, what more could you ask for?
Well, and what's cool is you've been to like the beginning of the Double E tailgate back in the day, like pre-Elks, right? So, do you remember much of that experience?
Yeah, it was a turnout. It was smaller than what it is now. It's definitely blown up. It's crazy what you guys have done with the tailgate parties, and they can only get bigger.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Like,
the hope. I mean, I've seen some of those videos of tailgates in the United States and, at NFL games, and holy moly, right? That'd be cool if we could ever get it to that point.
well, and from what I've heard, this new Lot B, believe it or not, it has been a huge improvement. There's lots of positive reviews on the current setup now. Now that we have some walking lanes, now that things are a little bit more respectful in there, and of course we got more fans in the area. Even Katie, shout out Katie from the park. Um, she's two lots down from us now, two
Right.
stalls down. So she's added. She coming in hot with Jello shots. So that was cool. Like great first time neighbor. But you got to see it in kind of its slower years, or less busy years. And now, dude, I hope that you're here for the next home game. We'll see. I mean, hey, we know that you got a place to stay. But I mean, even the BMO tailgate, the tailgate at the Argos game, it's cool to see how those guys have kind of like Ginger Argo. He's definitely spearheading the campaign,
Yep.
but there's a lot of fans in there, and even fans just like 20 or 30 or 40 stalls away, just tailgating.
But listen, that's what it takes. Just as Daryl says here, let's be honest, that's a fan-built event. Fans drag the team kicking and screaming into this, just the team being tone deaf over and over, which I definitely agree. But if one thing that we have seen is that if the fans are passionate about it and they really want it to happen, then the team will eventually give in and realize that, hey, maybe that's not a bad idea. And then suddenly the team will back it 100%, which is what they have done this year by even the move that we've seen, right? So I think in many, many ways, fans forget that they truly do have all the power when it comes to a lot of this, because an organization still has to be profitable. An organization has to make money some way. And if the fans walk away, there goes the money. So sometimes it needs to be, you just gotta slap them across the face with something for them to see it. But we're starting to see that now with, we'll talk about it again with Trey starting next game, and even the tailgate becoming a way, way bigger thing than it was even a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and even to add to that, Sinjin here in the herd chat, this team, organization, and city needs passion and heart running this team. It used to be Oilers hockey in the winter and football in the summer, fall. And the tailgate keeps the passion alive, oddly enough.
For sure.
We're not trying to sell you on anything here. If you want to go enjoy 3 hours at Commonwealth Stadium, you go 3 hours before the game down to the tailgate. You enjoy yourself for that 3 hours, because you might not enjoy the next 3 hours of watching the team lose.
And what do we see? At the tailgate, everybody's having a grand old time. Everybody's having fun. Everybody's, having a drink, laughing, visiting, doing a whole bunch of things. So they walk into the stadium feeling good. It's unfortunate that they have to walk away not feeling good, but the tailgate itself brings that morale up.
Well, and fans have started just tailgating throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's the healthy nature of tailgate.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, at least you have your things. But okay, let's bring it back over here, Brian. So, what would you say? Are you a bigger NFL or a bigger CFL fan?
Shoot, I would almost say even. Kind of watch a bit of both. I don't really watch much NFL these days. I support my team. You know, I catch the odd game, but it's harder to catch Elks games and harder to catch Texans games living in Ontario. And, I mean, you can subscribe to DAZN, but TSN only goes so far for the Elks.
That's true.
The regional restrictions for sports, we need to figure this out. The regional blackouts and all that. Every sport, figure it out.
See, and that kind of leads to my next question. How could the CFL persuade you to even watch more games or go to more games?
Well, the thing that irritates me is even if you're going to have blackout restrictions, play another game. Why have a black screen? Play something.
Yeah.
Or at least give me the option. If you have, say, like Sportsnet or TSN, where you got 1 through 5, East, West Ontario, all that. Play what? Give people the option. If you want to watch West, like at the Elks game against the Lions, let them watch it. If they want to watch the Argos and Ticats, if it's on at the same time, give them the option. Why take it away from people? Just
Like,
on where they live.
Yeah. And what could they, let's say, you know, the Edmonton Elks are in Toronto and they're going to play. What could the Edmonton Elks or even the CFL do to persuade you to go to the game a little bit more?
Ooh.
Free tickets.
I mean, anything free. You throw me a free hot dog and I'd be down. Give me free Baja Frank.
Well, that's the thing with the Blue Jays. That they always have little things that they're giving away. Even the Argos, like the first 10,000 people, or 1,000, 10,000, right? First 10,000 people that got a free hat.
I don't remember our last giveaway here in Edmonton.
No.
I remember that I got a yellow towel, yellow double E towel on giveaway. We used to get the newspapers. We got some shade. Yeah, but even then, that's after a touchdown. A lot of people have an opportunity to catch that mini football, right?
Yeah.
But when you walk in, bobbleheads, Argonauts just did baseball caps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we see enough of that type of promotion in the CFL.
No.
Like 50 Cent, the 50 Cent promo, sure, before the game. Sure. Oh, Andrea in there. Hand out the leftovers after the game, like the Riverhawks. You know what?
Hey.
So did you know if you go into the East or the West concessions and you go talk to them, especially on a hot dog night,
Yeah.
you can swindle some freebies from them. But you are right. That would be something. Even something like that, you're not wasting. You're not wasting.
Yeah.
Fans know that option is there. It gives you a reason to stay until the zeros.
Very much so. Like, how many times have I seen a Blue Jays game all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, and I see that they're giving away a little bobblehead, and I'm like, oh, I want to go.
Yeah.
Like, I want to book a flight, and I want to go to that game.
But it's that interaction that you need. You need to get the fans involved and get the fans want to come.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what the on-field product is if you still have something that's going to entice the people.
Very much so. And I mean, we do have little mini footballs and t-shirts being thrown, but even then, you know, I did see a post that one of our friends made on Instagram, Colin, and they are sitting on section X where we sit, but they're sitting all the way up, you know, lower ball, but all the way up. And when the team gets a touchdown, they have the little fire truck that goes around throwing footballs, many footballs to the people. But the reality is that those many footballs can only go so far. You know, only the people sitting right at the bottom of the bowl will get the chance to get those. I mean, we do have children that run all the way down the stairs. But what if they're not able to? What if, you know, somebody that is not a child that would like to run down the stairs wants one of those as well? Now they have to purchase it.
Need to utilize the t-shirt cannons all over again. So that little fire truck need to put a little cannon on the back and just pew.
Well, and Brian, you were there for the t-shirt cannon days. You remember the big cannon, yes. We also have in the herd chat St. John talking about the drops because John had mentioned they're doing the drops from the upper deck now. So the drop from the deck works great when there's no wind.
Well, even then, now I've seen they don't do t-shirt tosses or mini football tosses off the upper deck.
No.
They just do those little like parachute things.
Yeah.
And really, I even made the mention that those little parachutes always go to the exact same spot because they're not even actually throwing them, they're just letting them go.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a big gap of people that are actually getting any sort of little giveaways if the team actually does give them away.
No, exactly. And if we take a look, if we go up a little bit in the herd chat here, Andrea, I don't think I've ever seen any giveaways at any Elks game I've been to. So there you go. And then John did actually have the stat. He is correct. The first home game, they gave away 10 to 20,000 antler up t-shirts that we cut up into tank tops. We still got them. And like that's how sad that is. You can count on one hand how many giveaways they've done at the game. Giveaways are part of pro sports. Yeah. Look at the AHL. Look at the WHL. Yeah. Look at the Edmonton Oil Kings. They're always giving something away.
The Oilers with the burrito cannon.
Donair cannon.
Hey, see? Shoot me some food.
Like we have a Popeyes, just wrapped a little piece of chicken and just
get Popeyes more involved with your game day activations, right?
Yeah.
One of our judges right now from Saturday's cook-off, Strathcona Sam, aka Sam Rothwell, aka Strathcona Sam. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Always thankful to have you on the show. Now, Oilers hockey is in the air, and hopefully, no more flatulence from the cook-off, right?
Again, thank you guys so much for hosting. That was a very fun event. I heard nothing but positive from all the fans, and everyone I talked to had a great time, and it was a real big hit. So I can only see this growing from here.
Nice. No, thanks a lot, man. We were going to ask you for your thoughts, but you threw them down anyways. So, no, it was really cool. What did you think of the judging experience?
It was good. Thanks a lot for including me with the likes of the Fun Police and Ginger Argo and legends of that ilk. It was pretty cool to meet those guys and go around and, test everybody's chilies. What did we end up with? 14 different chilies?
Yes.
13 to 14. So we had 13, and then there was one last second that we ended up adding on there as well, right? So
yeah,
we kind of included that in the fan vote, I believe.
Yeah, it was 13, and which I think it's good, because if if you end up eating a little bit more than those 13 chilies, I think it would have been a little too much. I mean, there's the jokes were running around that that was way too much chili, and thankfully it was an open air stadium.
It started off with 2-ounce portions, and then by the time I got to the last 5 or 6 stations, I was down to 1-ounce sampling.
No, that was the feedback, was that there's a lot of chili. It was almost too much for the judges. So, next year we'll be a little bit more strict on the 1 ounce.
We should have brought like palate cleansers, like sorbet or something that they have in between chilies.
Exactly. Oh, we got to give a shout out to James here, by the way, in the herd chat at the Oilers game, listening on the web. That is dedication.
That is dedication.
What a beauty.
What a beauty, exactly.
Love
We're going to
it.
give an applause to that.
Yes, let's get to this.
Let's get to this. So, tailgate chili cook-off stats are as follows. We had 13 contestants, 353 votes as opposed to 235. So that's a 50% increase. Lots
of people voted.
That is huge. And then, of course, 5 total sponsors this year versus 4 last year. Addition of EST was huge. That was amazing. 2 prizes. So we have a prize set aside for the fan vote, and then we have a prize set aside for the judges vote. The judges vote will obviously get the more pristine prize. Now, somebody could have gotten both. Somebody could have gotten both prizes.
Technically, somebody could have.
We have Ginger Argo is asking here in the herd chat right now, who won the chili? So we're getting there. But anyways, let's moving right along here. 5 judges this year. That was the biggest improvement. Grey Cup Fun Police officers Dave and Jeff. Ginger Argo, who is just here in the herd chat. Travis Kara of 2 and Out podcast, and of course Strathcona Sam. So this is it was a nice combination of
definitely, and I mean
CFL celebrities and fans, right?
And I think the addition of the judges was a very important part of this because we wanted to make it fair. We understand that it's really easy for people to bring in their friends, to bring in, maybe they have a lot of booze to give out. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
You know,
There was definitely some bribes.
so because of that, we know that we needed to find people that would be fair, and there would be a fair judging scoring sheet,
Mhm.
so that at least everybody's chilies are being tasted, objectively.
Yeah.
And then there's still the fan vote that everybody can just pick their favorite and have fun, and everybody can walk around in the tailgate and taste some chilies and talk to people and whatnot. So I think
I think that was the coolest part. Sorry to cut you off. Was especially myself being new to I mean, I've been a long time season ticket holder, but I'm new to tailgating this year, and being able to go around to everybody's tailgate and see how they do it, and see their family and friends that come out, and just all like-minded CFL, big CFL fans, and just kind of restored my faith in the CFL, and I know the numbers are going to bounce back now after this season.
Oh yeah, no, and then you said it there best, Sam. This was about, and this is what it was about last year, and this is why we keep doing it. This event is all about the camaraderie, breaking down the walls of the, segregated stalls in a sense. This is about breaking that barrier down and talking with your fellow tailgater, having a couple words. Because, even if you look at last year, it was in Lot A. The tailgate was in Lot A. They moved over to Lot B, and everything got jumbled up. Well, some of the people that were chatting back and forth at the chili cook-off last year, they ended up becoming neighbors this year. So it just built up the community even more, and it was really cool to see you be a part of that as well. I mean, you've been one of our neighbors down there. We got to name that row. We'll figure out a cool name for that row at some point.
Definitely.
But
we will, for sure.
Yeah, man. And I mean, it's cool that we get that interaction, but we also don't get to move around ourselves either, right? So it's even just handing out flyers and getting the awareness about it. That's some of that stage for us, is where we get to break down that wall. So it's cool, man. Once again, can't thank you enough for judging in this. But we have the announcements. Everybody's tuned in. Let's go through this. So first, we're gonna do the fan vote.
Drum roll.
The fan vote. I got the drum roll ready here. So this is our fan vote here. We are gonna do in third place. In third place for the fan vote.
Did I need to highlight them? Sorry.
No, we're good. No. In third place for the fan vote with 34, we have Dave McKinnon.
Right on, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave McKinnon of Stall 101 is in third for the fan vote. In second for the fan vote, with 47 votes, we have Stall 160, Gary Dewar.
Nice, Gary.
At second place. And for first place in the fan vote, with 117, it's Mike Taylor.
Oh, right on.
I know, and listen, I know that seems a little insane, but this is the fan vote, and we were making sure that people were voting once.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe by the end, some might have escaped, but we did try to do our best possible to make sure that there was no funny business going on. There's only so much that we can do. And, that was a popular one. It was very, very, very popular.
I mean, I may have seen a Jake Taylor jersey.
Yeah.
What was happening? I don't know what was happening there.
We're going to take a look at the rule book for next year to figure out how we can make this just a little bit more competitive. Because, I mean, we're talking about like an over 50 to 60 point gap here. Now, maybe it was that good of a chili, but our judges... let's get to the judges' vote, shall we?
Yes.
Let's get to the judges' vote. Okay, so this is for the trophy. So the last, the fan vote, you guys, Mike Taylor, congratulations. You will be getting a prize package combined with a bunch of stuff. Sorry, not a bunch of stuff, a bunch of prizes from our sponsors and our partners. So we're going to be putting those together. We're going to be handing these out at the next Edmonton Elks tailgate. But we do have the trophy here. The trophy on the line. This is the judges' vote.
Yeah, and I just want to point out with the judges' vote is that there was no perfect score.
Nobody was perfect.
Nobody was perfect, right? Which is, I mean, in many ways, that's a good thing because it feels like everybody was, the judges were trying very hard to be objective in how they were scoring, so that's good. But that just means that there's a little bit of room for growth next year.
That's right.
Yeah, no, nobody was perfect, and I think that's what we want to see. But there
Yes.
was a clear-cut winner here, so let's
Yes.
go over these numbers. In third place, with a score of 100, it is Dave McKinnon.
Yay.
Dave McKinnon.
Dave McKinnon can cook.
Dave McKinnon can cook. He was the winner of the
Yes.
tailgate burger
Mhm.
cook-off. So Dave McKinnon was going for 2 for 2 here in the
know.
tailgate. He did a very good job. Still stayed very competitive. I mean, we're talking about a tailgate dynasty type figure here. So very cool. But we do have our second place here. Second place in the Elks tailgate chili cook-off. The judges vote for the cup. Second place with 107 votes. Daryl Paquette of Stall 87.
Yay.
Daryl Paquette, you did a great job over there. There was a lot of people that were talking it up. That was fantastic. So
I
congratulations.
believe he actually used real elk meat in his.
Yes.
Okay, so that
I saw the picture. So Daryl said that it was his partner in the tailgate who went ahead and got some elk. He chucked meat himself. I saw pictures of it, and I am very disappointed that I didn't get to try that and taste it.
It was very good. It had quite a heat to it, but he actually had avocado as a topping, so it actually cut the heat nicely.
Nice.
Yes.
Army Chris was the chef.
Here you go.
Hey, nice. Congratulations, Daryl. Thanks for tuning in, man, and congrats on that second place.
It was very close.
Very close. We're talking about a difference of 5 votes.
Points.
4 points. 5 points.
Mhm.
5 points, not votes.
I mean, between 5 judges, that could have been the difference of 1 point per judge, really.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, very close in the point scoring. And I mean, obviously this works because from third to first, we had a 12-point difference in the judging. So, yeah, I mean, it there's not too many that are very, very low. Like the average on this, I wish I would have averaged these. But the average is actually probably like around a 95 on this.
Yeah.
So, once again,
good
congratulations to everybody that that did compete. But we do have a new champion this year. We have a new tailgate cook-off, chili cook-off champion. And the winner of the trophy, it's 160, Gary Dewar.
Hey.
Gary Dewar at 160 with 112 points in the judging to get first overall. Congratulations, Gary. If anybody wants to see, like, we're pretty transparent. We even had like an official scoring card and everything. Honorable mentions here. Blair Benson had a pretty good one. Mike Taylor's did not break 100 here,
No.
I will say. So.
Mm.
Mike Taylor still had a good chili. Like I tried it. It was a good chili.
I am going to be totally honest. I only had 2 chilies, which I was extremely disappointed about. I really wish that I had the time to taste a little bit more. But I did taste Jason and Andrea's there in the chat, and it was so good. That one there had like a little surprise kick at the end, and that I love. That you eat it and you're like, oh, that's not bad at all. And then suddenly a couple of seconds later, you're like, whoa.
Andrew
loved it. It was so good.
Andrew and Jason's did beat out, let's say, Turf District in the scoring.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And once again, we are fully transparent. If you want to see your scorecards just to see where you stacked up, please let us know. Just send us a message and we can definitely share that with you guys. But congratulations, Gary.
Gary.
that was great. And just like Scout said, we will be handing out all of the prizes and the trophies at the next tailgate.
Yeah, so the trophy presentation will be 1 hour before the game, before that Argonauts game. So I want to say that's a 7:30 start, so probably around 6:30 if
Yeah.
that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Yes.
7:30 start, so it's going to be 6:30 trophy presentation and prize handout. We'll get everybody together, get all the partners together, judges together if they're available, and we will hand out the prizes. So once again, everybody, can't thank you enough for participating. We're going to be capping this at 15 contestants for next year.
I think so.
So
I think so. I think it was the right amount. We were trying to go for 25 to 30, and I think that would have been absolutely insane. So I'm glad that we ended up with the numbers that we did, and that was a really good first kind of gauge. You know, it allowed us to gauge exactly what the good point, like the sweet spot was for the amount of chilies that we can have.
No, it was very well ran, you guys, and thank you very much for hosting, and that was a lot of fun, and like you say, it built a lot of camaraderie, and actually did lessen the blow of losing to those double jumpers.
It did. Everybody was too full and happy to care.
Yeah, it is a consolation prize anyways for the loss.
Just
Now
a
we
little
do
bit.
have Jimmy in the chat. Thanks to the Elks herd, you guys were fantastic from the sous chef. Thanks.
There you go.
Thanks-
We do
thanks,
have
man.
somebody.
Mick Aussie also had a question up there just above. Big Sammy on the show. Yeah, so Mick Aussie in the herd.
My boy,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mickey boy.
Ginger Argo, congrats to all amazing cooks in Edmonton. See you all in 3 weeks. Thank you. Yay, Stall 160 was great. So yeah, we got a lot of comments here in the herd chat. Thanks a lot, everybody, once again, for like Mike Taylor, who won the cook-off. Mike Taylor gets in the herd chat here. Mike Taylor, you won the fan vote. Mike Taylor, congratulations, you won the fan vote. Let's give you another a little cheer and an applause. Mike Taylor, you won the fan vote. You did not win the trophy, unfortunately. But like I said, yeah, we
160 once again. Gary Dewar.
Gary Dewar ended up.
Dewar. Sorry.
Oh, all good. No, Gary Dewar ended up winning the trophy. So just fantastic. We're gonna be doing this every year, and yeah, I can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
thanks everybody. Thanks a ton, Strathcona Sam, aka Sammy, for being a judge. It was really cool having a fan also step up to be a judge.
Of course.
We have had fans
was-
in the
yeah.
past kind of reach out.
I was really glad because obviously, you know, we did have people that we had in mind and people flying in, like Ginger Argo. Thank you so much, coming all the way from Toronto just to taste some chili. I love it. But, you know, I think it was important to have somebody from the tailgate as well be part of that experience.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure.
Yeah, thanks a lot again.
Yes, Mike Taylor here in the chat. Yeah, a man of the people.
Mike Taylor is a man of the people. Mike Taylor's pretty good. No, really, really cool that Mike ended up winning that. Mike put his heart and soul into that chili cook-off booth. I heard a rumor that Dave McKinnon and Mike were going back and forth over the chili, over whose was best and who
my
won.
goodness.
And I mean, hey,
I love
rightfully
it.
so, because Dave
I love
McKinnon is
it.
a freaking beast when it comes to
Yes.
cook-offs and competitions and just in general in cooking in the tailgate. So, but we have a whole lot more show to go. So let's get into the more you didn't know, where we talk to our guest about a variety of topics. The More You Didn't Know is brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal. Catch the flight with Mike and Joe every second Wednesday as they get you fueled with all the latest in Bombers and Jetsland. Wheels up. Wait until you see the Herdies.
Oh my
I have a good Herdies ad today. All right,
Tons.
Sam, we have one constant question on this show, and you're the latest subject. How did you become a Double E fan? What's your favorite game you've ever been to?
Most painful game was 2002 Grey Cup. We lost on like a 60-yard touchdown to Montreal, and then probably 2003 West semi. We played Winnipeg, beat them at home, and then we went to Saskatchewan and won the Grey Cup that we should have won in 2002.
That would have been a good one. But how did you become a Double E fan? Have you been?
Yeah, was basically, my dad was a really big fan. He actually almost missed my birth because he was at an Eskimo game. So yeah, it's pretty much I was born to be an Eskimo / Elks fan.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, I'm glad that he didn't. Yeah, I'm sure your mom would.
He just made it in time.
That's so funny.
I looked it up. I think Hamilton was in town, so I don't blame him.
And well, yeah, and I mean, those are all fun and happy memories. But as we all know, the Elks are out of the playoffs
Mhm.
for a fourth straight season. So one of the reasons for fans returning is a tailgate, of course. You've been in the tailgate for a little while. What's your thoughts on how the Elks have grown the tailgate this year?
Awesome. I like to see all the OG Eskimo / Elk fans that are still supporting, even though the product has a ways to go. I like that we now have a new owner. I think that's going to be really big for us going forward. And I don't know about you guys, obviously being called, the Elks Call and the Elk Herd. I think we should put that whole name thing to bed. I think we're beyond that now. We've moved past that, and I'm quite happy with being the Elks.
Yeah, you know what? We are too, because we're dreading the whole conversation of having to rebrand ourselves.
No, but this is cool. This is also cool because you're somebody that visibly wears your Eskimos gear. You've obviously been following this team for a long time. We're not going to be digging into this for very long at all. But what I do think is cool is, it's you're a fan. You're in the tailgate. You spend your money on the team. You could be like everybody else that's complaining about the name, or you could just be happy for Edmonton football. And I think that's the culture in the tailgate that is really cool, because we're all spending our money to go tailgate for the 3 hours before. Obviously, the prices increased this year, whatever. There's some people that are choked. There's some people that just understand that, hey, this is still the best decision. And it's a no-brainer decision. It's an event before the event. It's no matter what, the tailgate's always a win, as LT would say, right? So,
I would like to hear what Ginger Argo has to say, but I know my wife's in-laws came up for the tailgate. They're Saskatchewan fans there for the chili cook-off, and they were blown away about how we do it. I mean, Calgary has a pretty good tailgate, but I think we represent quite well.
No, and I can tell you that Ginger Argo, and we've been to Ginger Argo's tailgate.
Yes.
Which is really cool about this. So
he was telling me they get together like 10 hours beforehand or something crazy.
Yes.
Now,
his tailgate spot carries the entire tailgate in Toronto.
That's awesome.
Well, for real. And then on top of that, depending on what's happening, so over at Budweiser, they could have a concert.
Right.
All these trucks are in the way. It's not as tight knit and community based as ours is, I will say. Now, Calgary, I think they're the number one for tailgating, but I don't think anybody has a chili cook-off.
I keep hearing it's Hamilton.
No, well, Hamilton has a pretty good tailgate too.
Well, my goal.
We'll have to go visit.
We have to go check it out first of all, but then after that is make sure that the Elks tailgate becomes number one.
Yeah, we're on a quest. But getting back to it here, Sam. Now, what would you change? What would you change in the tailgate party? Like, what do you think could be improved?
I just think there's not a lot of people that actually even know it exists or where it exists, and I think that now that people understand on what side of the, it's on the southwest side of the stadium, and it's accessible from the backside, not the real busy side of the stadium. I think that'll make a difference.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like, a couple of signage points, just, maybe one of those boards that say tailgate this way.
Yeah. Get over to the tailgate.
From the LRT station, or on that side where the entrances are on that side.
Well, and that's actually the biggest complaint is getting off the LRT. You barely even know that the tailgate is there.
Yeah.
Right. If you go in from the LRT, you're directly into the stadium, or you're in that fan fest. And even then, I don't know if they're doing the fan fest, but it's usually cheap beers. It captures you right there, and then you're hooped. Or
exactly.
People from the LRT will also get there right before the game, so they just walk directly and they pregame at home. So it's all about dragging people down there early, but also, like you said, bringing the awareness.
Yeah.
Now, Jason here in the herd chat, our friends from Hamilton thought our tailgate was way better.
Well, there you go.
Cool.
That's pretty
I
cool.
love
I
it.
still want to go check it out because
Props.
I've heard really good things about that one. But then it really depends what you're looking for, right? I'm not really sure what kind of tailgate they have over there, but ours is very lively, like the live music, everybody's, hanging around, talking. There's a lot of buzz going on. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of things going on, especially with the
Oh, yeah.
additions that
Very.
we've done this year. It's busy.
Yeah, and
Mm.
and I find everybody's very welcoming. Doesn't matter what team you cheer for. They're just happy you're here supporting.
It's all about CFL football. Before we get on to the next question here, Dave McKinnon in the herd chat. Hey, thanks for the props, gang. I'm tuning in from out of town. Took a while to get connected. Did I hear that Mike won the fan vote by over 50 votes, yet failed to crack 100 judges' points? I tuned in just when you said real review was in order. Yes, that's exactly what we said, Dave McKinnon. Talking that smack, bringing it to the herd chat. Oh, this is great. This is
we knew it was going to happen, which is why we made it work the way that we did.
setting it up for next year. I love it. The rivalry continues.
Yes, but let's bring it back. So we know by now that the Elks lost to the Rough Riders in a very dramatic fashion. But we do have to ask, as a fan, does this year's elimination hurt more or similar to years past?
Similar. Especially being a diehard Oilers fan as well. I'm so used to losing that I always just set my expectations really low and then go from there. So I would just say it's similar. I mean, you can't dig yourself 0-7 holes and expect to. There's a lot of growing that we had to do this year, and we have a great, talented lineup. Our defense is really good, and our offense looked great, but it just didn't seem to all come together for many wins at the start there. And then when you dig an 0-7 hole, you can't lose from there on out. So,
let's look at the show notes. Kind of expected it from 0-7.
Yeah, I mean. And that's the way that I think I mentioned it last week. It's like when your expectations are low, there's no disappointment. If you're kind of, if you put the bar really low, then whatever comes above that bar is a plus and a win and a party. Otherwise, you're like, yeah, okay, well, that was expected. So I feel like that's how we should go about this. Maybe not for next year, but we'll talk about that.
No, but there is improvements this season. So there is some improvements, right? So all within Larry Thompson owning the team. Couple weeks goes by. He gets his first home game. We saw the return of major fireworks, the helmet tunnel, and other game day activations. So, what's your thoughts on that? Did you even notice that some of these items went missing over the years?
Oh, I totally have noticed all that. What used to be included in your season ticket was slowly getting chipped away to and another thing that really hurt us was they took us for granted and they kept giving us Thursday night football games at bad times because we were always leading the league in attendance, and that eventually caught up with the league, I think.
Yeah, no, Thursday night games, everybody does indeed, dropping the B bomb, bitch. Everybody bitches about the Thursday night games. But
absolutely.
Yes.
You can't have 3 to 4 Thursday night home games.
Yeah, we had quite a few last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Kathy's been Kathy came in as an Elks only fan. You weren't an Eskimos fan, so you came in the days of the Elks. She didn't even see the inflatable helmet tunnel.
No. Well, I've seen pictures of it before. But I've
look at what we lost. Look what they took from us.
That's exactly how
or Nanook.
Yes. I have my comments on that one.
No, but she didn't even know about Nanook until like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm like,
no, I knew about him, but I thought that was just like a one-off. And then you told me like, no, he was there every single game.
But I would say highlight from this season for me was I got to go down to Labor Day in Calgary. And we finally won. I think I've been to that game like 9 times in my life, and that was the first time we'd ever won that I was there. So and then come back and beat them again at home. I thought, here we go, we turn the corner here, but it didn't pan out there in the end.
Yeah, no, that's I will gladly agree. I think we all thought that this team was something they weren't, and then we found out that we were who we thought they were.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, besides winning, which of course is a given, what else could be better on the Double E game days, do you think?
It's a good question. We do everything right. One thing that bothers me, and I know it probably bothers a lot of other people, is that bag policy. And I don't know if that'll change with having new ownership, if he can change that. I mean, it's quite intrusive to some people to be able to see what's, whatever they're going through to not have any privacy going through that gate. I mean, that's a bit of an issue. They could do better.
No, and that is a sentiment that echoes, because there are people that have medications, prescriptions, certain items. If you have a needle and you're diabetic, you don't want people judging you, right? So and I get why they do it. It is an international stadium standard at this point, but it's also Canada, where guns are extremely hard to obtain. And
well, no, I mean, and even
I get the knives.
Not necessarily that point, because you can always increase security a little bit more.
Metal detector.
Metal detector, yeah.
All of that, right? So I feel like there's ways around that, but unfortunately, we're also tied to the city's ruling and what they want to do, right?
For
so
sure.
unless somebody buys the stadium, or
Larry
or if Larry can, really, put some influence into some of the decisions from the city. Unfortunately, we just have to go with what they say. But
yeah,
hopefully even the city themselves hear a lot about that. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But getting back to it, who else do you cheer for in the realm of sports, Sam?
Big time Oilers fan. Also was born an Oilers fan. I call myself CFL Sam in all my NFL fantasy leagues, because I don't really follow any NFL teams, but I still play the fantasy and try to participate with that. But that's about it, really. Just a homegrown Edmontonian, and cheer for my hometown teams, and that's about it.
I love it.
Sherwood Park Crusaders.
Oh yeah.
For the crew, let's go. One crew. Hashtag one crew. Let's go.
You betcha. Yeah. No, I've been a season ticket holder of the Crusaders for a lot of years as well.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, we always make sure that we volunteer for at least one of the games there, because it's always such a good time. It's it's a very different kind of environment, but it's always such a good time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's really good hockey. It had, like, these players have technical implications, right? They could end up making it somewhere. And I mean, the Sherwood Park Crusaders also have a good history as well. Like they brought up quite a few prospects, and they continue to do so.
I feel it's like college football or university football here. These kids have something to prove.
Yeah,
definitely.
And when they have something to prove, you see some really cool games. Some things that you may not necessarily see from the Oilers, because they're a little worried about getting injured. Same thing with the Edmonton Elks, that they're a little worried about getting injured. You don't see that with these kids. These kids go all out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for the price of parking at an Oilers game, you can get 2 tickets to go watch them. So,
boom.
Very true.
For the crew.
It's
for the crew, yeah.
And it is entertainment. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a sports fan in general, that's just a really good way to have a night out for 3 hours and have a good time.
Totally.
But where can Elks fans find you online, Sam? And where can they find you on an Elks game day?
Elks game day, you can find me at stall 167. Come by, say hello. Love to meet you face to face. I don't do much social media stuff. I follow my teams and stuff like that on X. I'm at Hardcore Oiler if anybody wants to follow. But I don't really, not a whole online presence. If you want to come see me, it'll be in the flesh.
Love it. No, that's some days I wish that we could just get right back to that. Where is that? I know
It's
that.
your phone's right there.
Oh, nice. It's because I'm getting messages. That's why it's going haywire. Outside of this, Sam, what's your hobbies like outside of sports, man? What do you get up to? What's your thing?
I like to camp and golf. A lot of fishing, and my kids take up most of my days. So between working and them, it's a little bit of time for some golf and camping, and then back at her. And
I
of
noticed
course,
that your Twitter bio says long time or forever. You forever have a membership at the Fort McMurray Golf Course. Is that what that is?
yeah, yeah. Even though I haven't lived there in probably 15 years, I still am a lifetime member up there. And if you also read there, I still am the self-proclaimed mayor at Big Valley Jamboree.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, so awesome, man. Well, we know that there is a big hockey game on right now, and of course, you're a family guy as well, so we won't hold you back any further. But thanks a lot for joining us, Sam. This was fantastic. Thanks again for judging in the chili cook-off. And
yeah, thanks for having me so much, you guys. Again, thanks for hosting, and looking forward to next season already.
Oh, for sure, man. Can't wait.
Okay.
We'll see you at the next home game, October 25th, and enjoy the game tonight, man.
Okay, thanks, man.
Cheers.
See you, Catherine.
Let's go Oilers.
LGO.
Go Oilers.
And that will conclude another best of episode from the Elks Call Season 2. If you enjoy what you see and like what you hear, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and favorite button. We thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Don't forget to head over to royalretros.com and use code Shotgun Sports, all caps, no spaces, to save 10% off on throwback CFL jerseys and official CFL PA merchandise. And stay tuned to Shotgun Sports Network for another episode of the Elks Call in the near future. Until then, my name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X, with the Elks Herd, and we will see you all again soon. Cheers, everybody.